Go ahead, take a seat. Join us for Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer, where the conversations are real, the stories run deep, and absolutely nothing is off limits. From small town life and big time headlines to sports, politics, faith, family, and the everyday chaos of modern living, we talk about it all. No polished corporate nonsense, no fake outrage for clicks, just honest conversation served up with a little humor, a little wisdom, and the kind of storytelling that feels like late evenings from the back porch. Sometimes thoughtful, sometimes hilarious, sometimes completely off the rails, but always real. Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer is brought to you in part by Glenn Mechanical, when you want the job done right the very first time. Jason Hardy State Farm. Like a good neighbor, Jason Hardy and State Farm are there. Country Village Sporting Goods. Everything you need to get to the woods, the water, or the camp. Cook's Body Shop. Bad things are going to happen, and when they do, look to Cook's. Davis Farms Country Market with true farm-to-table fresh selections. Cross Roofing and Sheet Metal. Put a solid future above your head. Harrison's Financial Management. Your future, our commitment. Murphy Arts District. For the latest info, go to eldomad.com. Larry's Pizza. Home of the Double Pizza Parade. The Rushing Law Firm. Get someone in your corner who fights for you. The Michael Fife Campaign for Sheriff of Union County. Mystic Creek Golf Club, voted the #1 course in Arkansas. Smackover Motors, 50 years of keys, road trips, and memories at Smackover Motors. Timberlane Meat Market, eat local, eat often. Southern Sass Image and Design, the official photographers for South Arkansas Now and southarkansasnow.com. And by ProMed Ambulance, world-class care and hometown values. Recorded live at the southarkansasnow.com studios in beautiful, historic downtown El Dorado, Arkansas. Kick your shoes off, grab a seat, and welcome to the Big Couch. Your host, Troy Boomer Barrios and B.A. Sandy Sanford.
Thank you, Johnny Dean, and welcome to another edition of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer and sometimes Jax. But you know what? I just thought about it.
What?
Our guest this week, he's starting to rack up the points.
Well, he's Ricky Roberts.
Well, yeah, that too. But I mean, he's racking up the number of visits now. This is his third
time, yeah.
Third time being on the podcast. Yeah. You know, pretty soon he's going to be up to that level with Jax, and now it's going to have to be Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer, and sometimes Jax and Ricky Roberts. Sometimes Ricky Roberts.
It'd be all right with you?
If it pays well.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, we'll double what you make, what I make. We'll double it, okay?
Yeah, we'll pay you double what we pay Boomer.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
It pays well. So, you know, obviously we'll get to some questions in a minute, but first things first, are you ready to admit you need to go back to the sheriff's department? Do you miss that yet?
Like I say a lot of times, I miss the clowns, but I don't miss the circus. And the circus would be the jail. And it's a 3-ring every day, all day. I don't miss the jail. I miss the people of the sheriff's office.
Well, you know, we had Michael Fife, who, you know, is running for sheriff. We had him on the podcast, and I said, now, Mike, I've heard a rumor. I said, I need you to clarify for me. If you win election, I said, you looking for a new nurse? He said, man, I'm leaving that jail alone. Yeah. I said, you know, it's funny. Ricky said the same thing.
Good luck with that, Mike.
Yeah. More power to you.
Good luck with that.
You know, I'll say this, full disclosure. Obviously, I've said this before. My wife is the head of medical for the detention facility, and so I pick about that a lot. And matter of fact, when you were leaving, I was like, "You ready to admit that you're leaving because of the nurse?" And you're like, "Well, you know, I mean," but
have you ever spent any time in jail, Sandy?
Not any time to speak. I've been to jail a couple of times.
Not in the jail, but in a jail.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's loud, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I when I used to have that route where I sold chemicals to in another parish county, I'd go in there, and as soon as you came through the third locked door that control had, it was the holding, you know, with the guys that had just got there. And invariably, every week when I went there, it's a guy that obviously has a yelling problem.
Yes.
Because they are yelling and beating on the wall. And that's just commonplace?
Yes.
Gosh.
Every day, all day.
Pretty much,
Lord,
yeah.
Pretty much.
Oh,
Every jail I've ever been to has been like that, yeah. But one day, I was at the Union County Detention Facility, and when Ricky was sheriff, and he said, "Well, hang on, let me walk you back here to the jail." And I was just going to poke my head in and say hi to my wife, and you can hear all the. I mean, it's clamoring. I'm not trying to be funny, but it sounds like the flamingos at the zoo is whoop whoop whoop. You're hearing all the bird yells, and it's going crazy till this guy walks through the door. And all of a sudden,
everybody's
got real quiet, and everybody's watching us as we walk by. They're like, "If the sheriff's bringing him back here, he must have done something really bad."
Ooh, I'm sorry, baby.
But and so obviously my wife is there 12, 14, sometimes longer hours a day. And she'll come home, and the kids hadn't seen her all day. Yeah, and so they're mama this, mama that, and she's like, "Please make them stop.
Can we just be quiet for just a minute?
Please make them stop. I can't. I just can't right now." And I get that.
Yeah, I understand.
I get it because I'm with them. Sometimes I'm with them for 12 or 16 hours during the day, and I can't get it. I can't do it.
That's the problem with kids. They're always at home.
Always there. Dang.
Yeah.
Anybody tell me this?
It takes a special person to work in that jail.
Oh, it does. And so I was saying all that to say, Jim Sanders has done a slam bang up job.
Tremendous job.
I have been, look, I mean, I've known Jim for a long time, but I didn't know what he would be like in administrating the jail. Man, I have been impressed.
Jim worked in the jail years ago before he came to the street, and that was probably one of the better moves I made before it was a year ago, I think just last week, that he got promoted to captain and put over it. And that's his calling.
Yeah.
Whoever the next sheriff is, whoever that might be, if they could keep Jim or keep somebody like Jim in that jail, it would cut down on their them having a lot of issues and stuff like that.
Well, I think you were very fortunate. I mean, just being honest, you were fortunate not just to have Jim, but previously, a time or two before, you'd had Richard Mitchell.
Yes.
And Richard ran a tight ship.
Richard that was his calling, I believe. And
well, wasn't he like the president of the jail administrators for the state of Arkansas?
He was. Yes,
yeah.
he was.
So, I mean, you don't get that by not knowing what you're doing.
No, and people would call him, other jail administrators would call him and, ask him questions. And how would we do this or how do we do that? Richard was a wealth of knowledge. He ran a tight ship, and he was good. And, he's moved on, and I think he's happy.
He's actually figured out what it's like to make money.
I think so.
I'll say this: when COVID broke out, Union County was one of the last to get COVID inside the jail. Everyone ended up getting it in their jail, but Union County was one of the last. And I credit, obviously, Richard. But I think. I could be misspeaking, but I think my wife wrote the handbook that they ended up using around the state for how to prevent COVID from getting into your jail. And back then we knew nothing, so they would get a new person in, and it's 14 days. They're quarantined 14 days, and it was just so hard. And again, Union County was one of the last ones. I think there was like only 3 in the state at that point had not gotten COVID, and Union was one of them. I think the last one ended up being in Hampton. I think maybe so. I think that, but let's compare per capita, apples to apples. It's not really wasn't really the same. But I mean, you think about that when a pandemic breaks out in a jail, you're in trouble.
Well, it's just like the flu or a cold or something. It can spread through that jail in just a matter of days, and you have to be vigilant and try to stop it and isolate some people to keep them from doing it. And all through COVID, I mean, it was an everyday, all day process just to, try to keep it out. And unfortunately there toward the end, we had 1 or 2 that came that had COVID. And, but I think, it's just like COVID changed us.
It did.
It changed the whole way.
It changed everything.
We act and how we dealt with it. And, I commend the men and women that worked for me at the time. That they did a tremendous job, and it's tough. It's the turnover in the jail is unreal because the banging, the hollering, the this, the that, and it's constant. Somebody asked me here not too long ago, about the 3,000 bed jail or prison, and I said, well, yeah, we probably need that. But we need a 3,000 bed mental health facility because a lot of the people that come to jail, they may have a mental something mentally going on, and not necessarily need to be in jail. They need to be in a facility that'll help and help get them back on the right track. And I always told the jailers that work for me, the employees, you got to always remember. That's somebody's daughter. That's somebody's son. That's somebody's father. That's somebody's brother. Somebody loves them, and we need to treat them with respect. And we don't need to worry about why they're here. We just need to take care of them while they're here. Yeah. And while they're here. And, years ago as a young officer, I'm sure you can relate to this. It was, let's arrest somebody, let's take them to jail, and let's don't worry about them. That's the jailers. That's their problem. And once you grow up, as you grow up in law enforcement, you say, that's not the key. That's not the answer. No. And granted, some people need to go to jail.
They need to be in jail.
They do. That's right. They do. But there's also some people just need help. Yeah. And I think Arkansas is. I think it's kind of turning a little bit, and hopefully we'll see some more ways of treating the mental ill and getting them the right treatment that they need. So,
and boy, this is not a topic I had on my bingo card for today, but I went to a meeting over at the courthouse a couple of months ago. County Judge Michael Lofton, and there were some other county judges, some prosecutors from the area, from as far away as Texarkana. They were all in this meeting. Those guys, what they're crying the blues about is juvenile detention.
Yes.
It is beyond crisis level in Arkansas.
Right.
Right now, there are 2 facilities in the entire state. Both are full chronically. And let's just say you have a juvenile who's committed a crime serious enough that they need to be held until court. You have to take them. Is it Harrison or Mountain Home?
Jonesboro mostly is where we're having to take them. So way up there, and then you're paying $100 to $110 a night just to house them. But what do? I mean,
you got to.
There's some that sometimes we're turned away, and it says, well, we don't have any place to put them. So it's a big push.
Then what do you do?
Well, you
have to go in your jail, or you have to cut them loose.
You can't take it. They years ago, if they were going to be adjudicated as an adult, you could put them in adult jails, but you had to isolate them from the general public. They couldn't be where they could see or they could hear or whatever. So we could accommodate that.
Yeah.
But then law came down and says, no, we can't do that. So you have to send them to a juvenile detention center until they turn 18. The day they turn 18, you go get them, you bring them to jail. Well, if they're full and you can't, oftentimes we would have to call, Speaker Matthew Shepard and say, hey, can you help us out and try to find places? And he did. He helped us find places when somebody had committed a
heinous enough crime. You can't just cite them out.
Yeah. And in some cases, it's like, you got to cite them to the family, and let's hope they do right. And then you get on the list for hey, if a bed comes open, call us. We'll get him.
We'll pick him back up and bring him there.
So and that goes to show you that the juvenile crime around the state is on the rise, and you have to you can't just put them somewhere, put them in a jail, but so far this year, our juvenile crime is down. We're not seeing it like we did, and let's hope we don't.
Amen.
The summer is almost half over, and we're doing pretty well with that.
Yeah. Too bad they didn't have that the first 2 times I went to jail as a juvenile. I got put right in lockup.
Did you? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, well, it was a different time. It was the 80s.
It was.
It was. So, Boomer, help me understand something here.
All right.
You're driving down the road.
Okay.
You look in your rearview mirror. You see flashing lights.
Yes.
You hear a siren.
Yes.
A car goes flying past you at 100 miles an hour.
Not the
emergency vehicle, but just a car goes flying. And now you're seeing a state trooper or county or city police officer flying up behind you, sirens, lights. What do you do?
pull over.
Why is that so hard?
I don't know why you got.
Well, my thing is obviously on TikTok, I'm seeing a lot of videos of, especially if you watch the Arkansas State Police, because they're going to pit everybody.
Yeah.
Let me just say this. FAFO with Arkansas State Police.
Yeah, they will.
Because they will pit you. And Georgia's like one of the other states that will pit you.
Yeah.
Georgia sends their troopers to Arkansas to learn how to pit. So I think that's awesome. But I am blown away at the number of chases and all this I'm watching on TikTok videos or Facebook Reels or Instagram or whatever. And the vehicles are just staying in their lane. They don't pull over.
Yeah. We were taught to pull over, off the road, not pull over on the road or slow. And you'll see them, especially Arkansas State, you'll see them doing a chase on the interstate system, and the people are hitting their brakes in the lane. And I'm like, what are you doing? You have cops who are having to get over here next to the wall or come way out here on the shoulder and cut through traffic. That's not safe. Yeah.
But I see these videos and I'm like, I remember I was part of a group. We worked really, really hard on something called the Move Over Law. And the Move Over Law says when you have an emergency vehicle approaching you from the rear, you are to pull to the right as closely as possible onto or off of the road. So if the road doesn't have a shoulder, you get as far to the right as you can and stop.
Give them room.
Mm-hmm. And, so I looked it up. I was like, am I just, is this a Mandela effect? I thought we passed this law, but we didn't. But no, we did. The Arkansas Code 2751901. Drivers approaching emergency vehicles using lights or sirens must immediately drive as close as possible to the right-hand edge or curb of the road and come to a complete stop until the vehicle has passed. It's called the Move Over Law. Penalties. Pay attention to this, folks. These are the penalties you're guilty of if you don't pull over when police come up behind you with their lights and siren. Not less than $250. That minimum $250 ticket, no more than $1,000. So it's a misdemeanor. And that's just the fine. The judge could then, and up to 90 days in jail, and no less than 400 hours of community service. 400, not 40.
That's a lot.
That's a whole lot. 400 hours of community service.
That's stiff.
And
so there's more.
If the judge decides, they can suspend your license for no less than 21 days and no more than 1 year. So you could be a grand in.
Yeah. No license for a year.
No license for a year, 400 hours of community service, and 90 days in county jail.
And that doesn't count. And that doesn't count towards your 400. You do a community lockup.
Yeah, you're doing the community of service. That's all for not pulling over.
So let me ask you, because this brings up a question that I have. If you see a trooper or someone pulled over in the lights, and
you're supposed to give them as much clearance as possible.
Get in the other lane.
If possible, yes.
Yes.
If not, then the law says you are to proceed cautiously, which means not at 75.
Yeah, don't zip past them.
And, we had an officer.
All over? Is that Arkansas or is that just?
Well, I think that's every state. It may be worded a little differently.
I knew it was Louisiana for sure.
But, we had an officer here, a good friend of Troy's and a good friend of mine, that was out on a traffic stop early one morning. Someone hits the vehicle, it pins him, it takes his leg off at the knee. Mm-hmm. That happened right here.
Yep.
And
on Northwest Avenue.
Yeah, on Northwest Avenue.
On the north end of it.
And so, those are real things. We talk about it all the time, but I watch these videos. I'm like, what are you people? You know, I would love to after the fact for them to come back and say, hey, we were in this chase and you didn't pull over. We know that because it's your license plate, and come back and start issuing tickets. Now, the main thing is the main thing. Something.
Yeah.
But
they don't have time to stop when it's happening. They're in hot pursuit.
Yeah. But again, folks, if you see an emergency vehicle coming up behind you, pull over.
Let me tell you the other one that I see all the time, not all the time, cars running past school buses.
Oh, gosh.
And I saw one that went on the inside.
No.
Yes, on the inside of not on the outside of it.
Well, there shouldn't have been an opportunity because state law on
They're
that.
supposed to pull over.
State law on that is that bus has to pull as far to the right as possible.
And it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
But
Different subject.
There was, and it was somewhere around the area. I don't remember if it was in Mississippi, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, but it was somewhere nearby. There was a lady who just got out there every day and just started videoing. Mm-hmm. Every time her kids got off the bus, the number of cars that were going past. Then the news people, she turned it into the news. The news like, well, hadn't you contacted the police? She said, keep watching. And a police officer did it.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was like, oh, no. You know. Mm-hmm. Is it because we got to see all those PSAs when we were growing up, you know, about... You remember the one, I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill? Mm-hmm. And what did we learn from that? That all school buses must come to a complete stop at a railroad track, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
We learned that by watching those. Yeah. Well, there were PSAs I remember as a kid. I don't remember exactly how they went. But talking about when the red lights are on, you stop.
Stop, yeah.
You don't go around it. Mm-hmm. And but is it because we don't run those anymore?
Maybe not. Maybe we need to.
Of course, we used to have to run them at 10 o'clock, saying it's 10 o'clock. Did you remember you have kids?
Yeah. Where's your kids?
You know where your children are?
By the way.
Well, that also not only goes for law enforcement, it goes for an ambulance, the medical people.
Oh, yeah.
Fire truck. I mean, you have to stop and think, guys, what if that was my loved one on that ambulance and I'm hindering it, getting it to the hospital? I mean, you got to think outside and think more about just me and what I'm doing.
More than my little bubble.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need to. So,
yeah. So I've
that's good stuff.
That's been something that's just bugged me for the last few weeks. Every time I see a video of a police chase and the number of cars that just don't pull to the side.
Well, the state police put out, we will pit you.
Yes.
You run from us.
When they say that,
we will pitch you.
Hey, and then they can't wait to pitch you.
Yeah, my guys are saying, "Do we get to?" No. We're not gonna pitch you.
We don't have the budget they have.
No.
So further into this, I'm sorry, Ricky. Go ahead.
No.
Further into this, Ricky, and you know this, and it goes on every day. On Northwest Avenue, the turn lane is not a feeder lane.
Right.
Martha says, why do you see so many wrecks right there at the, going towards the mall? And I said, that's because there's so many areas to come in and onto Northwest Avenue.
They're going to get out there in the middle so that when it opens up, they can get out there. Yeah, that's not what it's for.
And a four-way stop, if someone's to your right and you both got there at
they have the right of way.
They have the right of way, or the first person. I years ago taking oldest girl to school. She was in junior high and she's 50 now. So I was at a four-way stop and it was my turn to go. And I got hit on the side because this lady on the side, I was there before her. She was to my right. And so anytime I come to a four-way stop now, I just sit there and I'm directing traffic. I'm saying, no, you go. You're not going to run into me.
Yeah, so that's my thing is this happened recently. I was going to turn, I think off of College. I'm turning left. There's a line of cars coming at this same intersection, and 3 or 4 of them go past, and one just stops in the middle of the intersection and flashes her lights. I'm like, no, you go. Because here's what will happen to Sandy. I don't know about what happened to Ricky or what happens to Boomer, but here's what happened to Sandy. The moment I edge out there, they'll hit me.
She's going to bang you and blame it on you.
And be like, see there? He ran that. He didn't have the right of way. Mm-hmm. But you waved me up. No, I didn't. I was turning my blinker on and it accidentally made my lights. I don't play that game. So no, I'm not going to.
The way I go to work in the morning, there's a four-way stop, and more times than not, they just they're late for work or whatever, and they're not stopping, but they're not blowing through it. But and it's not their turn. They just so that's why I'm just very, very cautious.
Talking about going to work in the mornings.
Yeah,
I don't think I ever griped at Ricky Roberts more than for getting pulled over because of that light at Northwest and 19th. Rodney Wimberly and I think both were pulled over maybe 10 times because if you came up at that time, if you came in the right-hand lane to go straight across Northwest, staying on 19th, that light would never change. It would just sit there red. And I mean, you just have to sit there. And so there would be mornings I'm sitting there. Sometimes you would hope somebody would pull up beside you in that turning lane and then it would start changing. But even
if you're going straight across, it wouldn't change?
It would not change. And that still is the case for College and Hillsborough. If you're going south on College, get to Hillsborough, and you are in the turning lane, it will not change. You got to be in the go straight lane for it to change. And
so get in both of them.
Yeah, there you go. Just getting both of them.
Then behind you'll be blowing the horn.
Yeah, they'll be mad at you then. But I can't tell you how many times Rodney Wimberly and I both. I would see Rodney sitting over there in the parking lot and police lights blinking behind him, and I knew what he got pulled over for. He pulled up there and that light didn't change.
So and I haven't. Ricky hadn't heard this story. You have. Like 4:00 in the morning, I'm at the corner of 5th and Northwest Avenue, turning back to the left, going back towards downtown. Okay, the light turns green, and there's a vehicle in front of me, and I give them ample enough time. This isn't legal. I just went around her and pulled out. Well, she got mad. She come up there and had her window down. She's hollering at me. I says, "Well, get off your phone." I was out of my phone. So I'm going to the donut shop. So she gets
important stuff.
Yeah. So she gets up there next to me. She goes, "I'm pulling you over." So I pulled in the donut shop. And she pulls in, and I'm pulling up to the window. It's still dark. I don't think it was 4:00. But I had to go home and tell my wife. I said, I got pulled over by citizen's arrest.
by the local Karen.
Yeah. I'm pulling you over.
Yeah.
But what made her mad is I said, "Well, get off your phone," because she was on her phone at the red light or the green light, I should say.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, that's fun. Hey, my wife dreamed the other night that I have a secret second wife named Holly.
Named Holly?
Yeah, named Holly.
There's some Hollies around here.
Well, none of them are my secret second wife. But,
well,
I mean, could be.
Yeah.
The reason they're secret because you don't talk about them.
Yeah.
But she had this dream that I had a secret second wife named Holly.
Yeah.
And so the next morning, I noticed she's a little short.
A little snooty.
Yeah. And I'm like, and it's unlike her.
Yeah.
That's just not her. I mean, now she can just be downright mean, but she's not normally snarky. And so I'm like, what's going on? Well, she tells me about this dream. And I'm like, okay, have a great day. I kiss her bye. I leave. I come to the office. That evening, I'm in there cooking or something, and I say something, and she kind of a little smart mouth with me, and I was like, I'll let that go. Then it happens again. Again, this is out of character for her. Boomer, you think she was still mad about me having a secret wife named Holly in her dream?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, if you think she was mad about that, you should have seen how she acted when I said, Holly doesn't act like this. She was pissed. Woo!
Fro does
Let me just tell you what not to say.
Yeah, don't say Holly doesn't. Well, I wish you'd act more like a Holly.
Two things you can do to really tick your wife off, and one is tell them about your secret second wife and how she acts
after they've done dreamt about it,
or call her by her mom's name.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. I won't make that mistake again.
Don't do that.
No. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this public service announcement from Sandy and Boomer.
Which camera are we on?
And Off the Back Porch.
Okay.
And I know we're idiots and we tell you all the time don't listen to our advice, but this advice.
May want to listen.
Never tell your wife
ever.
You're acting like your mom. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
I know you've never done that.
No, but
no, I'm smarter than that.
He's smarter than that.
And I got a shout out. Tomorrow is Kim and I's anniversary. We'll be married 38 years tomorrow.
Wow.
All right. I have learned over the years that I always get the last word in any argument or anything we got. And it's yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Or I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yes. You know, and that's a key to a long, happy marriage. And I tell these young guys,
keeping the last word, getting the last word.
You always get the last word. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Just do what it said.
We could teach our young sons that.
Yes.
They learn how to say, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm an idiot. And yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Fro will have those dreams like that. She says, you know what you did? She'll wake up and she'll be like that. You know what you did last night? I said, oh my gosh, here we go again. And you know.
But you can't downplay it.
No, it's real.
It's very real to them.
It's real.
And, you know, let me just say this. I've had dreams that I wish was real.
Yeah.
I'd love to be on a big luxury yacht with supermodels and all the money in the world. And,
you dream that?
No, I don't ever dream that. I dream that I'm in my underwear. I mean,
I dream all the time that I'm on.
There's a test at school and I didn't study for it. How about that?
I'm on deck and I can't move.
Is Holly on this boat with you?
Hold on a minute. Let me be very clear. There is no Holly.
There's a callback.
Holly is a figment of someone's imagination. I don't know whose.
So we had one of those instances the other night, and Martha woke up, you know, and by the evening I came back and she's still kind of, you know. I said, well, honey, what's for supper tonight? And she says, nothing.
Won't you ask Holly?
I said, that's what we had last night. She said, we're having leftovers.
Yeah, what's for supper? Leftovers. Well, we didn't have anything last night.
So
we're having that again.
I cooked enough for 2 days.
That's like, and we're gonna have leftovers tomorrow night.
That's kind of like that not raising hogs.
That's exactly right. Yeah, 38 years, man.
38 years.
You know, and of course, again, I'll be upfront and transparent about this. Ricky and Kim are our friends, and you know, we used to go out to eat with them, but we don't do that anymore. And I think it was because I stuck him with the bill, Boomer. You know, I think that's what it was. You know, the bill showed up at the table. I was like, hey, I'll be right back. I'm going to run to the restroom real quick, wash my hair.
Yeah.
You know, we had a good time. We did. We had a good time. And we always say, anytime I see Kim, I'm like, hey, we need to go eat. She's like, I am game. Just say when.
Yeah. Right.
You know, their life didn't change as much. We were the ones kept having kids.
Yeah. That's why that Holly thing and a whole nother family is way out of question. You got all these 2.0s there.
Man, I'm telling you,
trying to raise.
Listen, I don't have time to have a second secret wife. I don't have time for the first wife, much less to have a second one running around out here somewhere. I say all the time, if I'm going to have a second family, they better be carrying themselves. They better be kicking into the teal. Is all.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. How about that? We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
Experience, courage, common sense. All of these are traits we want in any elected position, but especially in the man we will pick as our next sheriff. Michael Fife hasn't just been in law enforcement for 30 plus years. He's the one who answers the call in the middle of the night, putting himself last and Union County first, looking folks in the eye, doing what's right, standing up for all of us. Vote for Michael Fife for Union County Sheriff.
If you born and raised in Arkansas, make some noise right now. You got place they've built right here in your town.
Ready?
So, let's do this.
Oh, okay. I got you.
No.
Sorry.
Noodles! Híjole, that was intense.
Agreed.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. For 50 years, one name has kept South Arkansas rolling strong, Smackover Motors. From brand new rides to dependable pre-owned vehicles and hard-working fleets, Smackover Motors has helped generations find the perfect fit for the road ahead. And long after the sale, their expert service department keeps you moving with trusted care, honest work, and hometown service you can count on. 50 years of keys, miles, handshakes, and community. Smackover Motors, driven by service, powered by trust since 1976.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer, sometimes Jax.
And now Ricky
And
Roberts,
possibly
maybe. Yeah.
Ricky Roberts. But Boomer, we're not just off the back porch.
We're on the big couch.
On the big couch.
Yep.
And
There
see,
you go.
I said that. I said we were on the big couch and nobody reacted. But Boomer said, we're on the big couch. And he did that.
And that
And
makes all
everybody
the
was like,
difference.
oh, yeah, yeah.
This makes all the difference. So when you're in your big meeting, you want to drive home, just got to give them that now. Or if you stand up and put one leg in the chair. I had a boss that used to do that when he wanted to really emphasize something. He'd stand up in the whole big table and put one foot on the chair, and then he'd give it one of those. And we all knew that's probably the edict we'd have to follow.
He's not playing.
Yeah.
He ain't playing.
Boomer can attest to this. We were having a staff meeting one time, and one of my other radio stations called me. And it was the GM of that station, the general manager, and he said, hey, man, I'm having a problem. I said, what's up? I said, I'm in a staff meeting, so if it can wait. He said, well, I went and gave so-and-so, and he said the guy's name, gave him the script to read for this commercial to put on the air. And it was a public service announcement. It wasn't like it was a paying customer. This guy brought the script back to him and tossed it on his desk and said, I'm the voice of the station. I should be saved for paying clients. And I said, what did you do? He said, I handed him the script back, told him to go record it, and he told me no. I said, put him on the phone. That guy got on the phone. I said, I need to explain something to you. I am in the middle of a staff meeting in El Dorado that I just stopped because of this. I said, I'm going to go ahead and shut my staff meeting off early, and I'm going to leave here. And in about an hour and a half, I'm going to be in Arkadelphia. And when I get there, if you haven't cut that commercial, I'm going to fire your
Blankety blank.
And I hung up. And I looked at the staff and said, sorry, guys, I got to go. How far did I make it from the table? Like 5 steps?
Yeah.
He's in there recording the ad. I said, good.
Yeah.
So, sometimes,
You got to draw a line.
well, with radio people especially, because, egos get big in radio.
Not
Because
the money.
no, the money
Just
doesn't.
the egos.
Just the egos, yeah. Well, and look, you can either have a big ego or big money. You pick. You can't have both. You can either second guess your entire life's existence, or you can be in radio. Boomer, for 20 plus years now, Google has known everything there is to know about me. My usernames, my passwords, my Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
my habits, my browser history,
Yeah.
my likes, my dislikes, everything for 20 plus years. So please explain to me why I have to still convince Google I'm not a robot
Yeah.
on every
Exactly.
website.
Exactly.
Every website.
I'm like, dude, you know me. We're friends.
How many of these pictures have a bicycle in it?
Yeah.
I'm going, well, that kind of looks like a bicycle.
I can't tell that blurry picture you put out there. I don't know. How many of these have a fire hydrant? I can't tell that. I'm over trying to blow the screen up, and I'm like, that didn't help. I can't.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm going to tell you what gets me is when you have secondary authentication and you got to go to your email and you look at it. And some of them now, when you click back, it'll have the number on where you're authenticating.
Especially if you're using your phone.
No, if you're using your phone. So some of them don't, and I'm going, I done forgot the number. Old people. I said, here, Martha, write this number down.
I don't remember what that
the
number was.
Remember the last 3 digits of this 5-digit number. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
Google ought to know.
What's the problem in the WNBA, by the way? Because here's my thing.
Are you following it, Ricky? Do you see what's going on?
I see what's going on with Caitlin Clark.
Yeah,
Bingo. So
that's it.
here's my issue. What's going on here? Because, they keep saying, hey, we're the same as the NBA. We're equals. No, you're not. And let me tell you why you're not. The NBA protects their stars. What's going on? This woman is getting molested on the court.
Yeah.
Daily. I mean, every single game, there's 3, 4, 5 instances where somebody like hammerlocks her across the head or clotheslines her or the fist to the throat the other night, and the refs are swallowing their whistles.
Yeah. Now here's what I heard this morning. A guy that has a channel on YouTube and he comments on WNBA all the time. He said, "We've got what we needed from Caitlin Clark." He said she brought the WNBA to the forefront, to the mainstream. Says now she's causing a disturbance.
Oh, this is the guy that says nobody likes her.
Yeah.
He said no one likes her. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I bet you them owners do.
Yeah.
Because every time she's playing somewhere, they sell out.
They sell out. So when they had the game with the Phoenix Suns with Diane Taurasi and Brittany Griner, the first one they had when she was a rookie, ringside, front row seats.
Could have been ringside.
Could have been ringside. Yeah, because it was a Punch Judy thing. We're going for 2,000, and Phoenix said this guy said Phoenix's front rows usually go for 250 or so, and that 17,000 is what they. And one of the broadcast people was at the top of the stadium. She said, "There's not a seat that is empty. It is full."
I'd like to know how much following did they have prior to Caitlin Clark?
Zero.
To what they have now. And these ladies are out here beating her up and doing this. What's going to happen when she says, enough's enough, I'm going?
Yeah.
You've got their pay up. You've got, they want to compete and pay with the NBA. I understand that. I do too. I understand that. And I think rightfully so. But if your star player decides I'm gone, then what's happening? All these high salaries because of the people that come in the door,
done.
They're going to be done. Mm-hmm. And you got LeBron. He's thinking, he told the Lakers, I'm not being here next year.
He said he ain't coming back.
Whenever he retires, that draw that people are coming to see him, guess what's fixing to happen with that?
Well, here's the thing with the NBA, and here's what the NBA understood. Postseason, that's a different animal, okay? But during the regular season, don't hurt the stars. Right. That's why they always used to complain, well, Michael Jordan gets every call. That's right. Why? Because anytime MJ was rolling into town, guess what? You couldn't find a ticket. You couldn't. And LeBron's the same way. I'm not a big LeBron fan. I think he's a big baby. But any of that, so stop with all the hashtags about we're equal because you're not. You've got to take care of your stars. And the fact that Indiana had to go out and draft basically and hire assassins who will come out and defend Caitlin. Yeah. That tells you that cute little blonde-headed girl, she will not, she can't wait to get in the game.
Yeah.
And the thing is she's not just out there for knocking heads.
She knows ninja and ninja chops.
Yeah, she can do a ninja chop and Judy chop chop. All those. Yeah, she runs out there on the court and she's like taking people down quick.
Let me speak the truth to justice, as they say. The WNBA predominantly was a black lesbian league.
It was,
and admittedly so.
Yes,
and so. It's kind of like the thing when we said we're going to pay all the new teachers $50,000. Well, those teachers that had been there for 20 years and were making 51 or whatever felt, that was been a highly injustice. And that's a different situation altogether. But Caitlin Clark from Iowa comes into the game and is a white, heterosexual, not boisterous. She plays hard and she'll wag her tongue too. Yeah. But she's a competitor and she doesn't fit the mold. And there's a lot of jealousy that goes on.
There is.
In that league. And they felt like they should have gotten recognition. And hey, there's some bang up. AJ Wilson, is it Wilson? She's the MVP because she's that good.
She's that good, right? And listen, I know everyone loves to play that clip of Angel Reese missing like 8 layups in a row, but Angel Reese is a good basketball player. You don't win a national championship in college by not being a good basketball player. Yeah. But Angel Reese, go back. The WNBA just came out with their 30-year commemorative poster, right?
Yes.
Who's missing? Caitlin Clark.
And
who's on there?
There's
damn Angel Reese.
Angel Reese.
How?
All the way at the bottom on the right, but she's still on there.
But she's still on there. Yeah. And then, of course, the WNBA says, oh, well, there were some logistics problems with using her image. No, there weren't.
Yeah,
no, there were not.
Like one of her sponsors said, you could use her image. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what the problem is? She had a big bruise on her eye where you let her get punched in the face and didn't blow a foul. How about that? And how that, listen, this is how you can tell I don't coach in the WNBA, because how that coach for Indiana doesn't get tossed from a game, I'll never know.
I'd be on the court.
You better believe I would be all over a referee.
I'd be like a dad who just punched his son just got punched. I'd be out there body slamming people.
You better believe it. You know, I've always said I've been thrown out of basically every ballpark in Arkansas and most of the ones in America, and it doesn't bother me at all. I will never, ever, ever argue with an umpire over a judgment call. You saw what you saw. Yeah. Now, I may walk out and ask you, what did you see? You need to be able to answer me. Don't be like, well, because now it's on. Mm-hmm. But if you're not in position, and in baseball especially, because umpires always have a position they're supposed to be in with what's happening on the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you're not in position, or you're lazy, or you don't know the rules, I will eat an umpire alive.
And here's the big thing. Because she shoots three-pointers, she shoots from the outside a lot, is you have to give them space to land.
Right.
And and they know what they're doing. They jump at her and then turn around backwards and so that she'll hit them and fall down. And, you've got to give a person place to land, whether it's 30 feet from the goal or right under the goal.
Right.
And so it's just a lot of injustice.
Yeah, the WNBA, they have a lesson to learn here.
Listen, it's not because I'm a white conservative, heterosexual Southerner. It's because it's an injustice. If it was Angel Reese or whomever, black, green, or purple, it's just wrong.
She's just being mistreated.
And
again, she's the star.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people just like me that didn't watch the NBA before because it just wasn't compelling enough.
Right.
Because they play below the rim, and it's a rough game because they have to block out and really have to do a lot of things physically. But I started watching because of her, and I grant you, there's a multitude of people,
a silent majority,
that have done that just the same thing.
Yeah. Well, the only time I had ever paid attention to the WNBA prior to that, they hadn't been in existence that long, and it was just because of the Houston team. Being a native Houstonian, the Houston team won 2 or 3 years in a row. Mm-hmm. But even the lady who was the star of the Houston team, and man, names are escaping me at this moment.
Lisa Leslie was one of them.
But they're coming out and saying, "Hey, y'all got to start taking care of Caitlin. Mm-hmm. Y'all can't do that." Mm-hmm. And I don't know what's going on at that. Listen, I've umpired from Little League all the way through high school. You meet about games. Hey, this game you've got, this is a heated rivalry. Last time these two teams played, the dugout's cleared or whatever it is, Kelly Gall, who was my partner on a lot of games, Kelly umpired in the College World Series. And those meetings they would sometimes be 45 minutes to an hour before a game. Okay, you've got a pitcher out there who likes to throw on the inside. So if he comes inside, chances are it's not trying to hit someone. This is where he likes to pitch. They go through all these things. Well, when you're talking about the professional level at the WNBA, you got to sit them referees down and say, hey, guys, I'm not saying throw a game. Don't inject yourself into a game to change the outcome, but you can't let the star get beat up out there on the floor.
Well, I don't think you can let anybody get treated like that.
Of course, that's right.
I don't care if they're the star bench warmer or the star. I mean, it's bullying.
Yes.
You should have known, or you should have learned in Pee Wee basketball, you got to give the player the space to come down. You can only block out a certain way. You can only do this a certain way. And then when that player hits the floor, you don't just power drive them or whatever.
The thing that it gets me is that, and it's a I'm bullying you thing, and it happens in the NBA and football. It's stepping over you.
Yes.
When you're down and you're stepping over someone as an intimidation, that gets me.
That's disrespect.
That's
not even intimidation.
That's disrespect.
We have lost. I think our society has lost. Instead of picking that person up and saying, "Hey,
I got you that time.
I'm coming again. Get ready. Here I am."
Yeah.
But in football, it's a little different. But yeah, I'm all against. Come on now, where is our society going? Where are we going with all
we
this?
lack. I mean, okay, now this gets deeply philosophical quick. We lack moral absolutes. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest issue. It's one of the reasons, like Rob Gronkowski. Well, I always liked Rob Gronkowski. I'm not a big Patriots fan and wasn't a big Patriots fan, but I love when he would catch a touchdown. What did he do? He walk over and hand the ball to the official and walk off like I've been here before. I love, I've never bothered me all the years I played baseball. I started when I was 5. I'm 54. I've either been coaching, playing, or umpiring for almost 50 years. It never bothered me if somebody hit a home run for them to stare at it. Why wouldn't you? You earned that. Yeah. You earned it, okay? Yeah. But the stuff that Tony Vitello was letting happen at Tennessee, for example, they would hit a home run and then come around the bases and get in front of the opposing team's dugout and point at their crotch. And no, that's a quick way for me to give my pitcher the green light. I have never, ever told one of my players to hit another player. Never. I did tell a player to hit a coach one time.
In the coach's box?
Yes. But he wasn't in the coach's box. That was the problem. We were in the Wally Hall Invitational. And this coach kept leaving the third base coach's box, walking down the line with his kid who was on third base, telling him whether to go back or run. And so I call time. I walk out and I get my pitcher and my catcher together. And I said, listen, that coach steps out of that box one more time. I want you to fire a ball down to third base, but I want you to hit him right in the back of the head. You understand me? And he's like, okay. I said, I'll wear it. Don't worry. That's what I got assistant coaches for. I'll take the heat. Sure enough, very next play, this coach comes out of that box and my kid comes up and he's going to fire the ball down to third base and beans this guy. I mean, knocks him off his feet. And that coach was like, that was intentional. And the umpire looked at me and said, Coach, it looked pretty intentional. I said, oh, you mean my catcher? That looked intentional? Now, that's the kid I had on the mound a while ago. You said couldn't throw a strike. According to you, he couldn't find the strike zone. But now, all of a sudden, he can bean this guy in the back of the head from down here.
At 90 feet?
I would just say, if he were in the coach's box, that probably wouldn't happen. And then the umpire looked at me and said, good point. Coach, don't come out of that box again.
Or you're going to get your head hit in the front.
You're going to get hit again.
I bet he didn't.
And he didn't. He didn't come out of that box again. That's the only. I've never, ever, ever condoned a player hitting another player, ever. Although, one of my kids, Jackson Waldron, sorry, bud, he got cleated twice in one game playing first base. That coach and I had words afterwards.
That's why they got 2 bases now.
Yeah. Yeah. But my kid gets cleated twice. Once,
get it.
I'll give you that. But twice, no, you don't get to cleat my kid twice. And again, I played the game, and I'm just telling you, all the years I played, I cleated one kid, and it was on purpose. Yeah. And because he hit me, I was up batting the previous inning, and he hit me in the face, and so. He gets on first base the next time. I'm playing second base. Only time in my entire life I ever played second base. I'm playing second base. My cousin Tony's pitching. And I called time. I walk up to the mound. I said, Tony, I need you to go to the windup. He said, I got a runner on. I said, I know. I said, he's going to take off. I said, just let him have second. And he's like, okay. And so Tony goes to wind up. Our coach is in the dugout losing his mind. What are you doing? And this kid takes off, and when he does, I roll the cleat out there, covering second base, and he slides face first into it. And I mean, little prickles of blood come up around his face, and I was like, throw inside on me again. Next time I came up, I took him yard. So I felt like I got total vindication that night.
And you feel good about that?
I do. I feel really good about it.
Well, as long as you can live with it.
Because I feel like his coach told him to hit me. Because he threw 4 pitches, and the 4th one hit me. The only reason the other 3 didn't was I got out of the way. And I told the umpire, I said, he's trying to hit me, Blue.
He says, you're just too slow. Is that what he said?
No, the umpire said, well, if he hits you, you get a free base.
Yeah. So the WNBA, what do you attribute it to? The top of the league?
I think their commissioner, first of all, I think she's over her head.
Yeah.
I think she was fine when they were a league that was determined to lose money and they didn't have to make a profit and they were paying their players penance. I mean, at one point, I think some of them girls were making like $35,000 a year.
Yeah. They all have to go play European ball in the summer
to make a living.
Off season to make a living.
And, she was fine for that. When they're being supplemented by the NBA teams, when the Phoenix team is being supplemented by the Phoenix Suns, Yeah, she was good for that.
They've all been.
She was a good manager for that league.
Mm-hmm.
But now that they have a star player and they actually have the opportunity to make profit and make money, I don't think she's equipped. I don't think she's wrapped her mind around the evolution of that game. I think is what it boils down to.
Yep.
And I could be totally off on that. I'm not an expert on the WNBA. I am an expert as a fan, just being able to watch and say, you got to take care of your star players. You can't let that happen.
And it's just widely evident.
That's the thing. If it wasn't so obvious, it'd be one thing.
Yeah.
But it's widely obvious.
Yeah.
You know, it's so, you know, I mean, look, you can say all you want to about the NFL, you know, those guys couldn't have lasted in Bradshaw's day. Well, of course they couldn't. Mm-hmm. They couldn't, but neither did Bradshaw. There's a reason Joe Theismann was out, you know, for a couple of seasons because he got suplexed on the field and, you know, broke his spine. And I mean, you don't want that. You don't want the most valuable and highest paid player on your team
being taken out
of the game on a stretcher.
Yeah. And that was the deal. Let's take him out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And of course, you know, your beloved Saints with their hit list.
Come on, man.
Hey, I have
How
no
about
problem
your
with
Astros with the trash can beating it in the dugout?
What do you mean? What are you talking about? No idea. Have no idea what you mean.
Well, that sounds like the front office.
I'm not privy to any of that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, whatever.
You know, here was my thing back when I caught lots of hell from a lot of my friends.
Your
Astros. Yeah, like I personally own them,
Yeah.
right? And I caught a lot of stuff from my friends, and I was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. No one has ever. I was 8 years old when my daddy, who was a professional ball player previously, taught me how to read pitches and how to signal the batter.
Yeah.
I was 8.
Read pitches and put them with the sign that he just
Yes.
gives.
And my daddy would teach me, okay, you're on second base. You look at this, look for this, look for that, look for this. And he said, I need you to signal the batter. So the guy who was batting behind me, if I was on second base, he was guaranteed to get a great pitch because I'm telling him exactly what's coming. And so, yes, the Astros were the first to ever do it, even though I learned it at 8 years old.
Okay, well.
And it doesn't matter that
it's
also
still wrong.
that same year, the
Struck a chord, didn't I, Rick?
you knew what you were doing, so that's why you're getting the full brunt of it, Boomer. The Yankees, the Cardinals, the Red Sox, and the Dodgers.
So that makes it okay.
Were all caught using cameras.
Yeah, using cameras
to look in at the signs.
Yeah.
They were all caught doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, you're right.
No, I don't have to be right. Remember, you taught me that. Doesn't matter who's right.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Won't you be quiet the rest of this podcast?
Here's me being quiet.
You know, we were talking earlier about my wife and my secret wife, Holly. My wife just doesn't make many mistakes. So when she makes one, I'm paying attention. Okay. Mm-hmm. It reminds me, I was in a jury pool one time, and John Thomas Shepard was prosecutor at the time. His honor now, John Thomas Shepard was prosecutor. And so it starts off with, there's like 100 of us in this room, and the defense attorney gets up and he's asking some questions. Hey, if you think this or this or this, raise your hand now and you can be excused from jury service. There were people who raised their hand, they were excused. My thing has always been, if you want to get excused from jury service, that's fine, but I never want to hear you complain about a child rapist getting off. I don't want to hear you complain about some verdict that you don't agree with, because when you had the chance to serve, you didn't do it. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the jury pool, and now John Thomas gets up as prosecutor, and he asks a question. He said, if one witness, their testimony is slightly different than the next witness's testimony, would you discount both of them? And I raised my hand. I said, what is slightly different? He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, slightly different to you and slightly different to me may be two different things. This is a relative term. He said, well, one witness says the headlights were on. Another witness says the headlights were off. Was it nighttime? And he said, I'm just making up a scenario. I said, I'm asking a question. And he was like, now, this is John Thomas Shepard, whom I've known since I lived in El Dorado, right? And he's like, I'm sorry, what was your name again? And I said, Breland Sanford. And he's like, thank you. And he writes it down, right? or at least pretends to. And I'm like, John Thomas. Well, the defense couldn't wait for me to be on the jury. The defense wanted me from day one, right? Because I'm questioning the prosecutor in front of people. So after they impanel us as 12 jurors, he's like, okay, I'm John Thomas Shepard. My brother is Matthew Shepard. He's a state legislator. I don't think he was speaker at that point. And he said, if there's something that you think you would hold against this in this trial because you don't like Matthew, you need to speak up now. My wife is, and he said, and if you know anything about her, I will pay you money to tell me because his wife didn't make mistakes. And so I get it. Mine doesn't either. But she did.
Uh-oh.
And it's the best one yet. And she's like, you're never going to let that go. I said, of course not. Mm-mm. You make so few mistakes, Casey. I'm not going to let this go. The Munchkin had a dance competition in Little Rock. And we had to get a room because she had to be there at like 5:30 the next morning. I don't remember what time it was. It was very early the next morning. So we have to get a room. And Casey's thing has always been like, because evidently before she come along, I didn't know how to book a room. I've never booked entire hotels for, conferences where I was the president of the association or any of that, or for all my employees that we took. I never did any of those things. I didn't have, like gold level, platinum level points with Hilton Honors because I didn't know how to book a room. So she always has to book the room, period, the end. No discussion. So she books our room. Well, we get to this hotel. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. And I will say this. There weren't a lot of rooms available. So we're in Little Rock. We have to actually stay in North Little Rock. So we're walking through and I'm seeing trash cans overflowing. The smell of crystal meth being cooked.
Oh, you didn't?
I'm not kidding you.
Oh, Lord.
It is, once you smell it, you know what it smells like, right? Uh-huh. To me, it's like a gut shot on a deer. You'll always remember that smell, right? Well, I always remember what crystal meth smells like being cooked. And I'm like, okay. We get to our room and she pulls back the covers. We have 2 beds. And the kids are going to be in this one. We're going to be in this one. She pulls back the covers on ours, and it's just a dirty pillowcase. I mean, it's just nasty. It's not like it has a little stain. No, it's got like a face imprint on it. Like somebody laid down there with full makeup on, and it's still on there. And I was like, baby? Yeah. I said, that's not a comforter. What do you mean? I said, that's a curtain. They had taken one of the curtains and put it on the bed as a comforter. I was like, look, I held it up and it had a rod space. And I'm like, okay, and then it was like, there were a couple other little things. And then I walk into the bathroom and there's gunshot holes in the wall, in the bathroom. And I'm like, okay,
it's checkout time. So
the next morning, we stayed. I don't think any of us undressed, but we stayed. The next morning, I have to get up at the crack of dawn and get Munchkin across the river over to the place where she has to be in Little Rock. I don't know why she had to be there so early. They didn't perform till like 11 o'clock that morning. But anyway, get her over there, get all that taken care of. I come back. I can't get out of the truck. And she calls me. She said, are you okay? I said, oh, I'm fine. I'm surrounded by police. And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, just look outside. There were like 11 cop cars. I am surrounded because there's a vehicle parked in front of me that was there as I was pulling in and all the cops swoop in. I said, they're evidently holding these people at gunpoint, telling them, get out, show us your hands. I said, so I'm just going to sit here until things chill out just a little bit.
Sure.
And I had told the Munchkin, I said, we were one more incident away from me saying, hey, everybody get your stuff. We're going to the DoubleTree. Yeah. I don't care if we have to sleep in the underground garage. We aren't staying here.
That's right.
So she makes so few mistakes like that when she does make those.
Did it say court on the end of that?
No.
Name of that place?
No. But here's what we found out after the fact. Little Rock had just had a tornado maybe a month before that come through. Okay. And the Red Cross was housing everybody at this hotel. And I'm
the
like,
one you're in?
Yes.
Oh.
So of all the hotels that had an empty room, the one you picked was where all the Red Cross refugees were, cooking crank in their rooms, and trash cans overflowing. And of course,
I've been to those hotels.
You can't say anything to the people at the front desk because it's like, yes, thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Yeah, they're cooking meth. Yes, do please. Please do hold.
Oh heavens, I've been those good places.
Oh man, it's that's the whole thing. So she does a great job in booking hotel rooms, but the fact she won't let me do it, and then she got us that one. Oh, yeah. No, you're never going to live that down. You got to wear that.
So you're going to hold on to that forever?
You better believe I am.
That and the
I'm going
Astros.
to get a tattoo.
You're going to get a tattoo?
I've got an Astros tattoo already.
I know you got that, but
so
you're going
to get one right under it.
The hotel there?
The name of the hotel.
She made a mistake.
And I'm going to put a picture of a bullet hole in the wall.
No regrets.
No regrets. Yeah. And a curtain for the comforter. Yeah. That's what's good. Boomer, I was thinking last night, I was talking to the youngest two of the 2.0s. And, Boomer, they don't listen for crap. They don't listen at all. It's like my voice, they're immune to it.
They're not disobeying, they just don't hear you.
They just don't hear me. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like in and out.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm Charlie Brown's teacher.
Charlie Brown's teacher.
Yeah. And so I said last night, you know what I need? I need kids who pay attention longer than the flavor in a Fruit Stripe gum. And they were all like, huh?
Fruit Stripe gum?
Yeah.
They don't know what that is.
They don't know what Fruit Stripe gum is.
Yeah.
If you've never had Fruit Stripe gum, first of all, you've missed out.
Yeah.
Because that was the absolute best gum for about 2.7 seconds.
Yeah, then it was gone.
And then it was terrible. It was hard. But boy, for that 2.7 seconds, my mouth's watering thinking about it right now.
Gone.
But then it's gone, just like that. You remember Fruit Stripe gum?
Oh, yeah.
It was best stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you could take those wrappers. Most people didn't know you could take those wrappers on that Fruit Stripe gum and it would be a temporary tattoo.
Yeah.
You could get
press
it
on you,
put it on you, Say, look here.
You wish you'd have known that, huh, Ricky?
I wish I'd have known that.
Yeah. To go with all your other tattoos, right?
Yes. Yeah. I grew up on juicy fruit. My grandfather loved juicy fruit.
Yeah.
And he'd always have some in his pocket.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I had is.
Yeah. That's like Mama. She always had
heads.
She had spearmint something or another.
Yeah.
Of course, it always tasted like old lady perfume.
Yeah, because it's been in her purse for a year or two.
Yeah. Yeah.
This gum's hard, Grandma.
Mama, you got any gum? Yeah, hang on.
Hang on, baby.
Out comes 3 Bibles and an address book and a recipe card and all this other stuff, wallet and billfold and all that stuff laying out there. And then she'll come up with this dusty piece of gum and some aluminum foil wrapper that's a little suspect anyway. Suspect. And then you put it in your mouth like, that tastes like Sunday morning.
We had where we lived when I was a little bitty, we could walk to church and I was below 5 because we moved when I was 5, but they'd let me go with the other kids. And right across the boulevard from where we lived was a little corner grocery. And, it was just like a little gum and candy and just not much back in the day. So we go over there every Sunday morning. And, then I had to have juicy fruit. The little kid had to have juicy fruit. Of course, you had to spit it out before you got to church.
Oh, no.
You couldn't chew gum at church. Oh, by gosh, no. Not at the Goodwill Free Range Baptist Church that I went to. In South Louisiana.
Were y'all Free Will Baptist?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. In
them shouting Baptists.
In South Louisiana, most everybody's Catholic.
Yes.
So you're an outcast if you're a Baptist.
Right.
You're not on the inner circle.
Mm-mm. You don't get invited to the Knights of Columbus fish fry.
No, you can't go to the KC meetings. Or the American Legion, by the way, because they were all anyway. So but juicy fruit.
Daddy always he would love to stop and get gum before church. Daddy always loved cinnamon gum. So Big Red. And so to this day, I got cinnamon gum right there. I just, when I pick what kind of gum I want cinnamon gum because that's what I just grew up eating. And I think Daddy did that when I was real small, so I wouldn't ask for any. But then when I figured out that I could chew cinnamon gum, it wasn't too hot.
Yep. So let me ask you, Sandy, Captain Chief Ricky Roberts.
Yeah.
Before we go off there and come back and ask him some questions, is there anything I can ask him?
No, you can ask him anything you want.
Okay.
Doesn't mean he's going to answer it.
Maybe I should have said that while we weren't. But I just wanted to get that clear because I got some hard questions about my neighborhood.
Well, you chose to live there.
Yeah. Well, the girl I'm married to lives there, so
Yeah.
she won't move.
Well, you married that other fella's wife.
Yeah.
That's what a guy told me one time. So I'm visiting with this guy, and I won't say whom.
Well, everybody will know.
It doesn't matter. But let them just guess. The people who don't know. I'm visiting this guy. He said, well, you know, that Boomer, he's married to my brother's wife. They've been married like 20-something years.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, well, that's my brother's wife. Okay. So I go back to the office and say, hey, I didn't know you was married to so-and-so's brother's wife. And he's like,
who told you that?
He's like, they divorced 30 years ago. And I'm like, I'm just telling you what I was told.
So Fruit and I'd been married just maybe a year or two. And some dude comes up, you know, right about Christmas time, and I'm outside at the shed or out in the backyard or something, and he goes in the house, and Martha and him talk, and comes back out, and I said, who was that? She said, that was my former father-in-law. He just come over to visit, I guess. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, didn't he used to come over and give her like Christmas presents? Or no, he came over for his Christmas present.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say that, but that's what he was doing.
My bad.
That's what he was.
My bad.
Of course, they're passed.
Yeah.
He's passed, and his wife is passed. Yeah, but he come over for his Christmas present. She's remarried to someone else.
But
my gosh,
you know, did you happen to think about me for Christmas?
Yeah.
Little tribute, something. All right, let's take a break.
All right.
We'll come back. We'll ask some questions of Chief. It's hard for me not to say sheriff.
Yeah.
You know, guy, it took me forever to say sheriff, Ricky Roberts, because you know. All Boomer and I were used to was back when you used to come to the radio stations was all the girls every time you'd leave they'd say smoking hot Chief Ricky Roberts.
Yeah, that's what we called him.
That's what we called you on the air. And so it took me a long time to quit calling him smoking hot Chief Ricky Roberts
until we were getting the gay questions. You know, yeah. Are you too gay?
Are y'all gay for Ricky?
Is
that what it is? You know. Hey, before we go to break, I will say this:
you're not gay.
Number one, be very clear about that. I got 6 proofs of that. Okay. But he had left the city, retired as chief of police, and went to work at the sheriff's office in criminal investigation division.
Yes.
And I called him one day. I said, Ricky, I got a problem. And he's like, okay, what's up? And I said, I've got somebody following me. I said, he may be a PI. I don't know. I said, but this guy's following me. And he said, why do you think so? I told him everything I had. And he's like, yeah, sounds like somebody's following you. And I said, I can tell you where he's at right now. He's like, all right, give me a few minutes. And so I'm at home and I'm watching out the window. And sure enough, here come all these police cars pull up. Ricky walks over to the window and he says, hey, you know, guy's like, oh man, I'm nobody. I'm just sitting here. And Ricky says, no, if you're a private investigator, by law, I am. And he's like, so yeah, what are you doing? Well, I'm working a workman's comp case on, and Ricky says, yeah, who's that? And he says the name, and he said, listen, buddy. He said, I was chief of police of this city. I know everybody on every street. He said, I have no idea who that is you're talking about. He said, so let me just explain to you like this. He said, Mr. Sanford's a retired police officer, and he gets real nervous about people following him around. And he said, I hadn't been on the range with him, but I understand he's a crack shot. You might want to be real careful about following him around town. And that guy disappeared.
And the name that he used wasn't your name.
No, he said some name from some other, and Ricky's like, what street do they live on? And this guy was like, Maryville. And he's like,
so he was following you on purpose.
He was. Yeah. Listen, and when I told Ricky, he's like, why do you think? And I said, okay, this guy last night was sitting with his phone out at Arby's, taking a video of me. And Casey and I were dating at the time. And I said, taking a video of me and this lady I'm dating and my kids and her child. And I said, then this morning, he's sitting right around the corner from my house. And when I come up on him, he's reading a newspaper and he puts it down and he's behind me going downtown. I get to my office.
He's watched too many shows if he's reading a newspaper.
He was reading a newspaper. So then I go in my office. I called, I won't say his name, but you know I got that buddy who works for one of them agencies that don't have initials. And I called him and he said, Sandy, the fastest way to tell if this guy's following you, go back outside, get in your car. If he shows up, he's following you.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I wasn't 2 blocks from my office. When I had the office downtown, 2 blocks. He's right behind me. So I pull into Wendy's. I walk in. He walks in behind me. He goes to a table. Now, when you walk into a place, don't you normally go in and order?
Yeah.
But he walks to a table and pulls his phone out. And so I get up to the counter and I told the young lady.
He's not a very smart PI.
Not very good, yeah. I said to the lady, I said, look, I'm not going to order anything, but I'm going to pretend I am. I said, but right over my right shoulder. I said, is that guy got his phone out videoing me? She's like, yes, sir. I was like, all right. And she's like, that'll be $6.94. And I hand her a debit card and she acts like she swipes it. And I go to the restroom. And once I get in the restroom, I'm like, you know what? To heck with this. I'm going to come out. I'm going to confront this guy. And if I'll grab his phone out of his hand, just smash it on the ground. I don't care, you know. And I'm thinking about what the charges would be and do I have enough bail money? Okay, I do. It's fine. So I come out and I'm going to beeline to he's gone. She's like, right after you went in the restroom, he left. I was like, okay. So I wait around a few minutes. I get in my car and I'm driving back home. And by gosh, he's behind me again. And I still have his license plate in my phone.
You never found out who hired him, or
I have an idea, but when I
tell us who. Come on,
I will.
I mean, now.
We're not. No, not now. That's when I called Ricky on my way home, and I was like, "Hey,
we got to check this dude out."
And so when I'm telling him, he's like, "Yeah, pretty much sound like you're being followed." I was like,
so you know how they do in the movies? You know, they'll bring him donuts and coffee out in the morning. That's what you should have done.
Yeah. Put a banana in his tailpipe.
Put a banana in my tailpipe.
I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll have more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
When it comes to protecting your home or business, trust the name that's been serving South Arkansas for 3 generations, Cross Roofing and Sheet Metal. From residential roofs to large commercial projects, the experienced team at Cross delivers quality you can see and reliability you can count on. Cross Roofing and Sheet Metal, built on trust, proven by results. Call Cross Roofing today. Put a solid future over your head.
With a name you trust, you can count on us. Glen Mechanical, plumbing, heating, and air.
For over 6 decades, Glen Mechanical has been specializing in HVAC, plumbing, and all mechanical jobs. 3 generations family-owned and operated since 1956. Glen Mechanical's business is based on relationships. They support and give back to the communities they work in. Contact them for all of your HVAC, plumbing, and mechanical needs. GlenMechanical.com.
Serving South Arkansas for 25 years, and all the while expanding and growing throughout the state, ProMed Ambulance is proving their motto of world-class care and hometown values. For example, their new mobile integrated healthcare communication center. This state-of-the-art facility allows communication specialists to work directly with local 911 call centers to ensure the closest medical team is always dispatched to any emergency. World-class care and hometown values. For more information and career opportunities, go to ProMedAmbulance.com.
I did the right thing. I went to school, got good grades, got a good job, and worked hard every day. I paid my taxes and my Social Security. Then, when I got injured and couldn't work, the government told me I wasn't eligible for disability. Well, if I'm not eligible, then who is?
With experience in disability law, the team at Rushing Law Firm works hard to help clients secure the Social Security disability benefits they deserve. Don't face the process alone. Call Rushing Law Firm today and let their experience work for you. The Rushing Law Firm, fighting for the benefits you've earned.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer, assuming you've stuck around this long. That's a big assumption. What do they say about assuming, Boomer?
Don't.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what I thought. That's how the saying goes. When you assume,
you make a
don't. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. And welcome to our special guest this week, Ricky Roberts. We've had him scheduled for a number of weeks, and I kept thinking he'll back out. I'll be like, you know what? I've repaired my reputation after the last couple of times being on with these guys. I don't need to.
Yeah.
But we have not talked to you since you have come back as chief of police. Right. What was the biggest difference from? I mean, you were gone. Was it 6 years? How long were you gone?
13.
13. Oh wow. Okay,
it's close to 6.
Yeah. So, 6 or 13.
Double one.
Somewhere in there. 13 years. What was the biggest difference you found when you went in?
Age difference.
Yeah.
Age difference. The first time I was there, I promoted up through the ranks, and we were all pretty much the same age. You may have one that was a couple of years older than you. You may have some that was a couple of years younger than you. But now going back, I think the next guy that age wise, I think he's almost 10 years younger than me. And it is a lot of difference. So, the police and the law enforcement itself has evolved, and it's changing, and it's ever changing.
Yeah.
And now it's more technology driven. We got to have all these gadgets and stuff like that. And I'm still old school where, you're investigating somebody, get out there and talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
You can't solve every crime on a computer. And so there's some little things like that it's like I told him the other day, I'm still trying to figure you out and you're still trying to figure me out.
Uh-huh. Dear ChatGPT, who committed this crime?
Yeah.
I say that jokingly, but there are crimes that are solved that way, but there are also crimes that you're never going to solve unless you're standing on the scene. I never had the burden of having to solve a major crime. Mm-hmm. Now, I was back up to one of our captains one time, and I remember standing in the bathroom. The body's still there, and standing in the bathroom, and this guy's just like, he's standing there and he's just looking, and I'm thinking, is he having a moment? I mean, what's going on? Because I was much younger and he was much older, and he's just standing around and he's looking and he's looking and he's looking, and he says, "Hey, dust that wall right there." And I'm like, "Where?" And he's like, down, right there. Dust right there. Handprint. But he just knew from looking at the scene, he knew where this person had leaned over, because the body was in the bathtub. Mm-hmm. He knew where they leaned over and put their hand.
Sure.
And there was a perfect handprint, and we got the fingerprints, and he was able to arrest the guy. And I just remember being in awe of how long he just stood there quiet and silent and not moving, just looking at that scene. And you could tell he's going through it in his mind of what would you do in this. And I mean, he solved it with 10 minutes of just standing still. And I'm like, I even nearly interrupted him one time. I was like, "Captain," he gave me one of those. He just put his hand out. Okay. And I'm just standing there. And that's always amazed me at those officers who have that ability. And granted, it's training, but some of it isn't. Some of it is just gut. And those guys who have that gut, that's amazing to me.
Yeah, oftentimes it's, to be a good investigator, you got to think like a thief, or you got to think like a burglar, or you got to think like a murderer. And that's probably what he was doing, just standing there, taking it all in. Now, if I was to go through this window, where would I touch, or what would I touch when I came in? And that's old school. It's that's something that time will eventually get you there. But some of these, we watch the CSIs and the this and the that. And I like watching Tracker. I don't know if he's the one that goes out and he finds people. And I wished I had 10 Randys.
Yes,
I mean, Randy
of course.
can find stuff. I mean, just tear that computer up. And I was watching a show the other night and told the wife, I said, "Man, I wish that was the way it is in real world."
Yeah.
And then
48 minutes. It's solved.
Yeah, they done solved it.
And then in the real world, some people believe that's how we solve crimes. And it's,
Go in there and spray some luminol and figure it out.
Yeah. And I'm boots on the ground kind of guy. And you got to get out in your community, and you got to be, visible, and you got to, just talk to people sometimes, and you can still turn, as those saying, snitches get stitches and all that. Well, if you see something, say something, hear something, say something, because the neighbor that got broken into, the house got broken into today, maybe you tomorrow.
That's what I was going to say. So when you said that about being out talking to people, that was one thing I was very blessed. I don't meet a stranger, obviously. I would get out and just, I always, my first wife, she worked for this guy that owned a bunch of convenience stores, and I would get him to order me not those cheap lollipops, but the expensive ones. He'd order me cases of them at a time, and I kept them in the patrol car. And I'd pull up, and I'd just hand them out to kids all the time. Kids knew when they saw me, I had those expensive lollipops, and I'm handing them out, And here's what happened. Some of them kids got to be teenagers.
Right.
And when something would go down, I'd pull up and I'm handing out lollipops and they say, "You looking for so-and-so?" I said, "I don't know." "Well, you looking for the person who broke into that house?" "Yeah." "You looking for so-and-so?"
Sure.
You know, and that came from years of getting out, talking to people. And then, you know, you and I think before we ever even started recording today, you and I were talking about it. And we were talking about the jail and just, you know, when my wife first got ready to go to this, she had never been in law enforcement, and I had. I said, "Look, if I could give you any advice, if you think any advice I have is worth hearing, this is it. If you never have to know what a person's charged with, don't. Just, if you're going to be stuck in a jail with them, because let's be honest, out on the street, there's a chance that an officer who gets involved in an altercation, someone may come to his or her aid. In a jail, there's very little chance. You know, you're surrounded by convicts. These are people who, if they could make good decisions, they wouldn't be in jail, right? I'm not saying that as a bad thing about their person. I'm just saying that they do not have the ability normally to make good decisions. I told her, I said, if you never have to know what a person's charged with, don't. And whatever you do, just treat every person as a human being. If you'll do that, you'll find a difference. Well, one of the first rattles out of the box, she was pregnant with the princess. And so this was 11 years ago. And for whatever reason, the lights went out at the jail. And the normal standard procedure was when the lights went out, all the cells would lock for whatever reason. And they would do that until the generators kicked on. The generator tried to kick on, and then it went off. And when it did, all the cell doors unlocked. Well, you can imagine in a jail, there's no windows, right? So it's pitch black. And she said, "I know about how far I am from my med room." And I may have this story just a little off, but I apologize. "I know how far I am from the med room." She said, "So I just back up. Sure enough, there's the door. Can't see it. She's feeling. She backs up. She wedges the med cart in the door. After a minute or two, she says, I can sense the presence of someone. There's two guys who've come and stood outside that med room door. And one of them looks back and says, Nurse Casey, don't you worry about a thing. Nobody's going to come down here messing with you. And they stood there until the lights came back on. Why? Because she treated them like human beings.
Sure.
Because I had a partner. I love him. To this day, I'd take a bullet for the guy, and he would for me. Donnie Herbison, I love you, buddy. But Donnie and I could be out separate. When he made sergeant, he could be out and I could be out. I could make 10 arrests. Donnie could make 10 arrests, but 9 of his would have the added charge of resisting arrest.
Right.
I think 2 out of the thousands of arrests I ever made, I had 2 that had the added charge of resisting arrest. And I physically had to fight these guys. They physically roll around on the ground with people. I'm not big enough to fight people, you know, but I had to fight these guys. But Donnie could have 10 arrests, 9 of them would have resisting. It's all in the way you talk to people and how you treat people. I don't think Donnie was being unkind. I just think he was military. So he's used to the stripes on my arm say so. Mm-hmm. And that just doesn't always translate very well when you've got a subject there who may or may not be intoxicated, who may be under the influence of something. And you're saying, well, I told you to. And they're like, well, you don't get to tell me what to do.
Right. Well, you know, I always tell our young officers, you know, these people are grown. Mm-hmm. Most of the people you come in contact with. And even when my boys were growing up, I don't like the word shut up. No, we don't use that word in my house. I don't like telling anybody to shut up. I mean, and when you're an officer and you tell somebody to shut up, you're going to get something. Yeah, you picked a fight. Because, I mean, you're telling a grown person and it's invoking and it, you know, they tell me to shut up and see how I react. And I always try to tell these young officers, let's treat this public like as if it was your mom or your dad or your brother, your sister, your grandmother getting pulled over. And, you know, 95% of the people we come in contact with, y'all hear me say this all the time. 95, it may even be more than that, percentage of people are just hardworking, trying to put food on the table, roof over their head. And to be honest with you, I had a conversation with a mayor this morning, not our mayor, but another mayor. And we were talking about traffic tickets. And I said, you know, I have to keep telling folks By the time an officer writes a ticket and it's $250, $300, you're taking food off that table, true and yet. But that person goes and fights that ticket. And let's go to court now.
Mm-hmm.
Minimum of 2 hours overtime. By the time they get the ticket, they either have to pay the ticket or whatever the
happens,
judge, whatever happens. Let's say he has to pay the ticket. Well, the kick to the city, whatever city it is not more than $25, $30. Well, guess what? That ticket has cost the taxpayer of El Dorado to write that ticket than it does to do. Now, I've always told them, you say you set up on, at Main and Hudson or wherever, and you see a car speeding, you pull it over today. You get out, you treat them with respect, and well, I'm late for, I'm running a little late, getting to work. And I said, you don't really understand that if you hold that person up, that person may have been told the day before, hey, I'm late for work, and if I'm late again, I'm going to get fired. So now they're having a bad day because they're already late. Here we are holding them up. I said, just, be quick.
A little grace.
Be quick, and then say, hey, I'm not going to be out here tomorrow, so slow it down.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you are, the next day or next week, same car comes through. Guess what?
They've earned that ticket.
Guess what?
Mm-hmm.
And I say people will respect you for that a lot more. But it is different coming back. But it's a good different, I guess. I'm getting to see some of these young officers, and hopefully we're changing that mindset that everybody goes to jail, everybody gets a ticket, everybody, we get beat up. We get beat up all the time.
Oh yeah, you do.
And I'm going to say this, and you may cut it out or whatever, but where have we gotten on social media and Facebook and these I call them keyboard warriors.
Mm-hmm.
They get up there and they want to criticize the officers. They want to criticize just everybody nowadays. And I want to say, we had a young lady who lost her life last week. Tragedy.
It was.
Whether you liked her or you're not, some of the Facebook comments on her grandmother's post was blowing to me.
I agree.
And I want to say to people that criticize the police, criticize anybody, let's first take a look in the mirror. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, if somebody said that about me, would I say it?
Mm-hmm.
If somebody said that about one of my loved ones, because this young lady, she has kids, she has a mother, has a father, brother, sister, grandmother. People love these people. Officers, we have families. Do you not think that my family doesn't see what you write on Facebook? Do you know how much it is to respond to that? I mean, yes, if you don't like the police, you don't like something we do, call me. Get our side
You've never
of
been a
story.
hermit. You have never, I will say that about Chief Ricky Roberts. He has never been a hermit when it comes to talking about. I proved that. I moved here in 2002 and I wasn't here any time at all. And I go down and meet with him and say, hey, I had a buddy, had a site crew. They came into town. They experienced this and they had a run in with a couple of your officers. He said, give me the date. I did. He said, I'll take care of it. I don't know whatever happened. Didn't ask. I didn't care. I just know I've never saw those officers since. I had an issue at my house where there was an officer. There was a young female officer who came to my door. She says, hey, had this complaint. I'm like, okay. And the male officer who was behind her is like looking in my vehicle. I'm like, what are you doing? And he said, do you have something to hide? I said, yeah, I got 3 kilos of coke and 2 dead hookers back there. And he was like, oh, so you're one of those. You know what? You may need me sometime and I'll be slow about getting here. I said, I can promise you, I won't need you.
Right.
And what he didn't realize was his sergeant had walked up behind him and his sergeant was like, hey, officer so-and-so, I'll meet you back at the station. I hadn't seen that guy since either.
Yeah. Well, we've all had a bad encounter with police.
You're going to.
Yes.
99% of the time when the police get called, it's not because they're coming to tell you, hey, just want to tell you how good looking you are.
That's it. That's it. And my bad experience was when I was 18, I was just out of high school and I had a job and it was in the wintertime and I drove this the company old raggedy van, and it was cold natured, and it was 3 shifts on the column.
Oh, 3 on the tree, yeah.
You know, and you get that thing, and it jump and jump and jump, and then when it finally warmed up enough, you better go on because you never know if you're going to make it or not. And all of a sudden, I look up and blue lights. So I pull over, and I'm looking out the rearview mirror like everybody else. And back then, it wasn't seatbelt. You had to wear your seatbelt or whatever. I don't even know if the old van had it. But I remember watching that officer get out of that car, and he had on gloves, and he pulled his gloves up. And then he had on mirrored sunglasses. Mm-hmm. And he walks up there to my car and he says, where are you going? I said, well, I'm going to work. Well, why are you speeding? Well, this old van, I tried to explain to him. I'll be right back. So he goes back, he writes me a ticket. He comes back up there and, okay, the ticket cost me the whole day pay. Back then, $40, $45, whatever it was.
It's a lot of money still.
A lot of money. And I still today don't like officers that wear the gloves and pull them up because you're asking for it, right? Mm-hmm. I don't like mirrored sunglasses. If I want to see myself talk, I'll go to the mirror, right? Don't walk up to me with mirrored sunglasses on and talk because I'm probably going to turn and go walk away from you.
But no one's more critical of police than police officers.
Yes. Now let me tell you this. I joined the force at 21 in Pine Bluff. That guy still worked there. I still don't like him. So, hey, we all have run-ins with police officers.
We do.
And I understand that. But you got to understand, we got dedicated people that put their lives on the line every day just so that you can lay your head down and be safe in your home.
Because let me tell you what life would be like without them.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
We had an incident in our neighborhood. Now, I point that way because Elizabeth's a producer, and she lives across the street. Year and a half ago, my whole family's in the vehicle. We're pulling into the driveway, and I see a guy walk out of the yard from my neighbor and goes into my backyard. So I stop, put the vehicle in park. I get out. I'm armed. And I walk in the backyard and said, can I help you with something? Well, I'm trying to find such and such. Dude, you picked the wrong place. That's not even close to here. And he's got a bag of something. I don't know. He's got a big bag over his shoulder. And I'm like, you need to go. And he tries to go into the neighbor's yard. I'm like, that's not the way. Mm-hmm. I said, you go right out here. And I said, you hang a left. And when you get over here to College Avenue, then you can find your way to where you need to go. But you got to go. And he finally does. I'm sick at my stomach. Again, I've said this before. Entire time I was a police officer, pulled my weapon twice. Both times I threw up afterwards. That night, I did not throw up, but it was that kind of feeling. I had an employee get accosted by a customer, and I'm at my desk. I see this happening. I yank my pistol out. I go running up there. That guy goes. I have to go home the rest of the day because I am sick at my stomach. I don't want to have to use that weapon.
So you're kind of gun happy then? Is that what you're telling us?
No, I'm not. I'm the opposite of gun happy. My whole point is if I didn't do those things, if we didn't have police and it's not me, what happens in that situation? Mm-hmm. What happens in the situation where the family's inside the house? They're not pulling into the driveway when this guy walks into the backyard. Mm-hmm. What happens when the office is empty and it's just that one female employee and this guy accosts her and hits her right there in the lobby? What happens if you don't have the police? There's not a good scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if we took let's just say we take this weekend off, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And just think of the chaos. Think of the what all goes on around the United States, bigger cities. They're having shootings every 10 or 12 a night, whatever. You could just magnify that. Mm-hmm. And I don't think people that want to criticize understand that. If you look at these new patches we got, it says established in 1870. So the police in El Dorado, Arkansas have been here since 1870. We're not going anywhere.
Right.
We're not going anywhere. So, you can continue to beat us up. You can continue to criticize, degrade us. But then again, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. That's all I'm asking. Because I tell my officers every day, you come to work, we expect you to do your job. You're not going to get patted on the back every day for
doing your job.
You did a good job today. But when you go home at night and you brush your teeth, and I say, I hope you all brush your teeth at night before you go to bed, you take a good look in that mirror and you say, did I do a good job today?
Yeah.
Because you're your worst critic.
That's right.
You can beat me up on social media. And if I've done something that I could have done differently,
no one's going to be harder on me than me.
I'm going to beat myself up. But you got to understand, we're first and foremost, we're human. We're going to make mistakes. And as long as we limit those mistakes, as long as it doesn't cost somebody their life, whether it be an officer or whether it be the individual that we're talking about, and it's like, let's don't fight this in the street. Let's fight it in the court. If an officer tells you you're under arrest, let's fight that. Yes, sir. Put your hand behind you. We go to court. If we're
because
wrong,
it's never going to turn out well on the side of the road.
No, because our officers wants to go home to their family just like you want to go home to your family. And we got to slow things down because we got a lot on us.
Yeah.
We're expected to be counselors. We're expected to be marriage counselors. We're supposed to be mental health counselors. We're supposed to be all of this.
And then you pull up on seeing their kids involved.
Yes.
Gosh.
And then now some of the things that we are seeing right here in El Dorado that I've never seen in my whole career. And it's almost like when a life is taken, nobody cares. I mean, it's like, oh, well.
It's not real.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's like it's not real.
Right.
You were saying a while ago about, social media and all. We talked about this last week. There was a website that was kind of a forum, a sounding board for radio people. And I wasn't the most popular. I know that's hard to believe because of my charming personality, but I was not the most popular person, and that's okay. I've never tried out for a popularity contest. And this site took shots at me all the time, and that was fine. During that same time, we talked about there was a site called Topics, and I was always one of the leading things on Topics, and that's fine too. They didn't bother me. What did bother me was I had told my kids one morning, and I was like, "Hey, I got to go. Going to Arkadelphia today." I had radio stations. Someone that day posted on that website that I had died in a car wreck coming back from Arkadelphia. My 14-year-old daughter gets home that day, pops her laptop open, and there's people sending her messages, condolences. I'm so sorry about what happened to your dad. She's like, what are you talking about? Oh, well, here's the link. And she's reading where I've died. Now, what do you think that's like to walk into when you get home?
That's mean.
That's hateful.
Yes, that's just people.
That's people who are going to go to hell, as far as I'm concerned. That's why I'm not the judge, by the way.
How have we gotten to this point?
Right.
And y'all hear me say this often. I choose to live here.
Yeah.
Yes.
I choose to make the choices. And so far, I've made pretty good choices because I'm not out there at 250. Those people, they're not bad people. They just made bad choices. Okay. I choose to live here. We all choose to live here, but we want to beat up our neighbor to the point of why?
Yeah.
One of my officers, young officers says, why are you doing this? You could go home. I could.
You could.
I could go home and enjoy my retirement and say, you know what? I don't have to put up with this. Some of my family says, well, why do you? Why are you? Why are you putting yourself through this?
Well, we've asked ourselves that same question about you.
Because I want to make our life
make a difference. Yeah.
Make a difference. Let's come together as a community and let's move this thing forward instead of just beating everybody up.
Yeah.
And I've heard corruption. I've heard, y'all doing some shaky stuff or some stuff. Do you know what the definition of corruption is? That's when you take a bribe or you do something to benefit yourself. To benefit yourself, like a contract or something, and you get kickbacks. Okay, so am I supposed to be getting kickbacks for every ticket they write or every? No, I'll let you see my bank account.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no, I have to live with myself first and foremost, because when all of this is done and all this is taken away from me, you can take the sheriff and you can take the chief of police and you can take that. All I have is my reputation, and I want to be known to be fair and honest. Yeah, you may not agree with something that I may say. You may not agree with, something that I do, but come to me if you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling my young officers that are 22, 23 years old, if I say something or if I make a decision and you want to ask me about it, come ask me about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you about it.
I'm not on a pedestal.
No, I am not. No, I'm not that. I put my pants on just like everybody else.
Not like me.
And
you don't have arthritis like I got. I got to sit down and jump up and turn around,
lay back on the bed, and again, full disclosure here, Ricky's my friend, and I trust Ricky. It's like I said last week about Matthew Shepard. There are things that Matthew voted for that I personally wished he hadn't have, but I trust Matthew that if he says he's going to vote for this and there's a reason, I trust him. Mm-hmm. If there's things that Ricky's done that I didn't agree with, and I can't think of any off the top of my head. Well, there's a couple, but anyway, I trust him. I trust him enough. The funny thing to me is Ricky's been very good that, and again, this is someone with law enforcement experience from the outside looking in. He puts people there who will check him. Boomer was that guy for me. I can't tell you how many times he would come in and he'd say, look, I'm not your friend right this minute. I need you to talk to you. Mm-hmm. Okay. And he'd say, earlier you said, help me understand what you were thinking, because from my standpoint, you were wrong. Mm-hmm. And here's where I would be like, you know what? I didn't think about it like that. Or I would tell him sometimes, well, here's my thought. And he's like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that.
And I'd say, quit trying to make me better.
He would say that to me. Yeah, he'd say, quit trying to make me alone. Yeah. He said, middle management. That's the best I want to be. Yeah. But you've been very good about surrounding yourself with people who will not just snap and say and salute and say, yes, sir. Yep. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, and you know this as well as I do, 90, maybe more, like you said earlier, maybe more, 90% of those people who are behind a keyboard, and they will say the thing, they would not dare sit right here in front of us. Mm-hmm. And I tell you this, it is an open invitation to anyone who wants to come in and publicly and frankly face-to-face accuse people. Come on, I will get them here. You tell me who it is you want to accuse, I will have them here. And you look them in the face and accuse them. Yeah. Because it's like I said last week about the whole, the whole city council's corrupt. I'm like, Judy Ward? You mean to tell me you think Judy Ward is corrupt? Someone who's dedicated her entire life to educating impoverished and undereducated people. You mean to tell me you think Judy Ward is corrupt? Buddy McAdams? Jill Wineski? You think they're David Hurst?
My guy, David Hurst.
They're corrupt. No. You mean to tell me they would say that on a keyboard? They would not say that to your face.
Exactly.
And that's the thing that, again, there was a guy one time that came and interviewed for a job with me. We offered him the job. He was a great interview. He didn't take it. Then went on one of these radio boards and starts bashing my people and called one of them retarded. Mm-hmm. And I just call the guy out. I right there publicly. Here's the way you know if it's Sandy posting something, by the way. I don't do it behind a moniker. Right. It'll say Sandy Sanford. Right. Okay. You never have to wonder, was that Sandy? You don't have to wonder because it'll say my name. But this guy, I just said, hey, so-and-so, you really took some shots at my people. You do realize that guy you said that about is the father and the husband and the son and the brother and the uncle to people. Mm-hmm. And you've now said this about him, and all those people are pissed at you.
All right.
Because you've said this about him. Mm-hmm. And, it's just... If you wouldn't say it to their face, you probably shouldn't say it on a keyboard.
Well, just philosophically speaking, maybe not philosophically, just realistically saying, some people need to tear down to make themselves feel better.
Exactly. I've got to diminish your star so mine shines brighter.
That's just a fact of life. That there are some people like that, and they're quick to go to the negative, and you know, the thing, especially when we were in radio, you just have to kind of block a lot of that out. And you know, when
because I may have been number 1 ranked on Topics El Dorado, but Boomer was number 2.
And I was number 3.
Then you know, I was on church. I was on church staff for a number of years, and you know, it's kind of like being the greenskeeper at the golf course. Everybody knows how to do your job.
Sure.
And you know, well-meaning people at church, they think, well, you know, this is how we need to do this. You know, but so you got to learn
sing off the wall more.
You got to learn how to tune all that out, and I know it's hard to do when people are.
Well, and again, having been in a position, as far as the ladder scale goes, equivalent with Ricky's, when you have everyone, you're ultimately responsible.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, whatever happens at the El Dorado Police Department falls on this guy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So when I had all these employees, at the end of the day, and there would be times they're like, well, I don't like the way you're doing it. I said, yeah, I get it. I get you don't like the way. But at the end of the day, I'm the one whose butt is on the line.
Yeah.
I'm the one who has to answer for. I'm the one who's going to get they're not going to call you to come to corporate. They're going to call me.
Right.
Okay. So if I'm going to get called to corporate, then by gosh, we're going to get called for something doing it the way I want it done.
Yeah.
But when you're at that level,
because they can't say, you couldn't go to corporate and say, well, Boomer wouldn't. He said, wait,
manage your people.
But yeah,
you mean to tell me you can't manage your people? So that's my whole thing is when you're at that level, you take responsibility for all those people, willfully taking responsibility, and you're always based on the weakest link. I mean, I found out not even that long ago, there was a person in town who was been mad at me for like 18 years now, because one of my employees was out of the way with her and said and did things that he shouldn't have said and done. And she's been mad. I had no idea.
Right.
But she's been mad at me all these years. And when I explained, I was like, I had no clue.
If I don't know about it, I can't fix it.
Exactly. Amen.
And you know, Rodney Wimberly, did you? Yeah, he was, Rodney, he didn't care much for the police at one time. And I can remember right after I was appointed chief back in 2000, he came up to me and he says, I don't trust the police. I don't like the police. And I said, Mr. Wimberly, it's my job to change your mind. Mm-hmm. And before too long, we were friends. Now we could agree to disagree, and we did. We did agree to disagree, and we did. But that doesn't mean that he's right or I'm right or it doesn't mean that. It just means that if we all agreed on everything, do you know what kind of world we live in?
It'd be very boring.
But we go back, and I'm going to go back to the city council. There's nobody on that city council that's corrupt.
I don't agree.
There is nobody.
I mean, I agree. I don't think that there is anyone on there that's corrupt.
There's nobody on the quorum court that is corrupt.
I don't think so.
There are people on those committees that the city council and the quorum court that's trying to make a difference. Mm-hmm. Trying to make a difference. And then you got these naysayers out here, instead of being a part of the problem, be part of the solution. Mm-hmm. Let's come together. Let's work together to make it better. We need better jobs. We need a lot of things going on in El Dorado. Look around us.
Yeah.
When I first moved here, it was booming. It was, there was, it was a lot of 26,000 people.
Yep. When I moved here, that's where it was.
Something like that.
Almost 27 when I moved here.
Yeah. And now we're down to
17.
Yeah. And we got a lot of things going on for us, but we continue to just beat down our neighbor. And no wonder people want to leave. Yeah. Let me go somewhere. When I go on vacation, I love it. Nobody knows me. I get to eat. Nobody comes to my table. Yeah. But when I'm out in public and I'm out here, yes, people come up to me. They talk to me. They want to know why 5 cars were down their street. Sometimes I can answer that. Sometimes I can't. But I will find out, and I'll call you back if that's what you want me to do. But know your facts. Know the facts about what's going on before, my dad often told me, open these and shut this, and you can learn a lot.
Yeah.
2 ears, 1 mouth. God gives it to you that in that order for a reason.
Yeah.
But sometimes we lose sight of that, and I do too. I run this a little bit too much.
We all do.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the officers, county officers, we just want what's best.
Sure.
What's best for this community, what's best for the people that we serve, and we want everybody to, live a good life.
Here's the thing, Chief, and you know this as well as I do. I have seen corrupt police officers.
Oh, yeah.
In my career, I've seen them. We don't have those. Because let me tell you, when you run across one, you'll know immediately. There's no question. Okay. For example, when I was chairman of the Parks Commission locally, and we were bidding out some projects that we were going to have built. I get a phone call, and it's a company that's bidding on one of the projects we have. And I get asked, hey, how would you like to go on a deer hunt out in West Texas? I was like, I'd love to go on a deer hunt in West Texas. Well, you got some bids coming up. And I was like, you know what? Put your best bid forward. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
And I ended the call.
Yeah.
That stuff happens.
Sure it does.
But I didn't take it.
No.
I've not been on a West Texas deer hunt.
No.
And that person didn't get the bid, incidentally.
Right.
So it's out there.
But the guy with the duck hunt did, right?
I don't know about that. Boomer went on bunches of duck hunts. Yeah. I still wonder about some of that radio stuff we used to pull off. He'd always come in with these customers. I'm like, Boomer, I've never even heard of that. But yeah, they exist. Don't worry about it. They exist.
Well, it happened. We were at a chamber. We were at after hours, and I had a customer that very non-typical radio customer.
Yeah, not an advertiser.
Not an advertiser. Most people didn't, and the company still exists, and most people still don't know it exists. But I said there, I said his name, and I said, there he is right there.
He introduced me. He said, hey, you know how you're always saying such company doesn't exist?
I said, there he is.
Here he is right here. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, Boomer went on a golf trip. I'm just saying, I don't know.
This guy was just a great guy, and he's passed, and God bless him, and he was just a wonderful man. But let me ask you some logistic things, because I see this on, there's all kind of cop videos on social media, especially TikTok. Traffic stop. Policeman walks up to the window and says, I need to see your license, your insurance, and your registration. And then the guy says, well, what are you stopping me for? He doesn't have to answer.
Well, the way they trained us now is when we walk up to your car, we're supposed to tell you who we are.
Who you are, yeah.
We're supposed to tell you why we stopped.
Yeah.
We're supposed to tell you those things.
That was my thing. Now, when I was a police officer, I would walk up, I'd say, good evening, sir. I'm Sergeant Sanford with Logansport Police Department, and I pulled you over because you were doing 50 and a 35.
Yeah.
That's what I always did. Now, I had officers who didn't, and I would try to coach them because they would get that even back then in the 90s.
So okay, let me get to the bottom line. So I'm sitting in the car and I say, well, what'd you stop me for? He says, well, give me your information, and as soon as I get my information, I'll tell you what you stopped me for. So do I say, or should I say,
you are legally obligated to give that information?
Yes, I know.
But
is he legally obligated to tell me what he's stopping me for?
Yes. He's supposed to tell you who he is, what department he's in. And the reason I stopped you is you were speeding. The reason I stopped you, you ran you rolled the stop sign, because that's mostly what people do.
Yeah.
And then,
because I'm not going to do that. I mean, if they pull me over, I said, yes,
I'm going to hand it to you. I am not. However, I'm not going to take field sobriety tests.
No, I'm not going to do that.
And I'm never going to blow.
No.
Field sobriety test. Look, I ran the DWI task force.
They're made for you to fail.
Yeah. Here I'm sitting here talking to the chief of police, right? My whole thing is I ran a DWI task force. You can fail those field sobriety tests just by standing there breathing. So I'm never going to take them. I don't care if I've had anything to drink or not. I
can't walk a straight line, stone cold sober.
Well, the deal is just don't drive drunk.
That's the biggest thing.
Don't get behind
don't
the
drink and drive. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. But if you do, just know that you're not going to pass those tests.
And you're going to get arrested.
You're going to go to jail.
Yeah, you're going to go to jail.
And that's what we were talking about at one time here on the podcast. And Boomer's like, yeah, but they still going to? Yeah, they're still going to arrest you.
You're going to be arrested.
But you have a better chance of pleading down a refusal to take a breathalyzer than you do a DWI. Because let me tell you what happens on a DWI. I had an employee one time, good employee, good kid. His story, I don't know how true it was, but his story, and I didn't have any reason to not believe him. I took an Ambien, had a glass of wine, went to bed. I woke up by the police, parked in my car on Industrial Road. I don't know if that's really what happened or not, but that was his story. I called then prosecutor Robin J. Carroll, God rest his soul, and I said, Robin, this kid, I don't want him to lose his license, man. He's a good boy. He's a good kid. He's a good employee. And he was just a kid. He was 23, 24 years old. I was like, I don't want this to follow him the rest of his life. And he said, Sandy, he blew in the machine. He said, there's nothing I can do. He said, I could come closer to pleading him out of second-degree murder than I can from a DWI. He said, do you know how fast Mad would be down here protesting around my office if I let him plea out of this? And I was like, I got you. And so my thing has always been, don't drink and drive. Right. If you make that mistake, and you do,
don't take a breathalyzer.
Don't take the breathalyzer. Yeah. So again, I said it right in front of the chief.
So if you do get stopped in a traffic stop, just comply. Even if you're not going to adjudicate this on the side of the road.
It never ends well on the side of the road.
Because he says, well, I'm going to get you out of the car, and we're going to handcuff you and take you to the station and fingerprint you, and then we'll know who you are. And he can do that.
Here's the thing, and this is what I use, because again, I'm 5'7". Okay. I'm not going to fight you. I'm going to mace you. I'm going to tase you. I may even have to shoot you, but I'm not going to fight you. So here's what's going to happen. Eventually, you're going to go to jail.
Eventually.
How do you want that? The period between now and when you get booked, how do you want that time period to go? Because that's up to you at this point. Right. All that being said, some friends of ours, my first wife and I were married, and some friends of ours, we all went to Ruston for a concert at Rab's. We pull up. We're going to go. We have a reservation. We're going to eat at Rab's Steakhouse and then go to the concert. We pull up. There's nowhere to park. So there's all this grassy area down both sides of the highway right there, and there's cars lined up as far as you can see. So
it's a feeder road.
Our friends pull in. We pull in right beside them. We're parked. That's where we are. No, I take that back. I'm driving. My now ex-wife, she's driving. We both pull in. We park. She had an accident the week before and had sprained her ankle, and it was like this big around and purple, and it was bad. And so we eat, and we're standing in line to get inside, and the line's just not moving. We've been standing in line for like 45 minutes. And she looks at me and says, look, I can't. I just, the ankle, I can't. And she was going to leave there and go to her parents' house in Texas. And I was like, all right, well, let me walk you back to your car, and you can go. So I walk her back to her car. She gets in, tell her bye. I'm walking back to go get back in line to get inside. And it's just something inside says, I haven't heard her car crank. Now, I'm probably 50, 60 yards from her, and I just stop and I turn around, and there's this big deputy standing in her doorway, and he's like, and he's hollering at her. And I walk back down there and say, hey, fella. I sleep with her, and I don't get to talk to her like that. You don't get to either. We're going to have this car towed. I was like, have it towed? He's like, this is a no parking zone. I was like, okay. Well, if the point is that you want cars moved from the no parking zone, she's about to move it. Let her just move it. No. Get out of that car. I looked at her and said, don't you dare get out of that car. And this guy spins around, looks at me and says, you want to go to jail? I said, I am not scared of jail. It doesn't bother me at all. And so we're not off on the best foot. First of all, you're hollering at my wife. This guy's like 6'6". She's 5'6". You're hollering at my wife at the time. And I'm like, first of all, get out of her doorway. And I kind of move him back, and I shut her door. And I said, don't you open that door for another reason. And so he's like, okay. I said, you know what? If you want to write her a ticket, write her a ticket. Well, he don't have a ticket book. I said, then call somebody to bring you one. So he does. And they bring it out there. And I said, and while you're at it, I'm parked right next to her. Write me one too. Because I'm fixing to move mine too. And
what about all the other ones that were?
I don't know about that. That he couldn't answer that question either. When I was like, you got all the, he's like, well, I got these wreckers. And I was like, well, you got 600 cars here.
You going to haul them all off?
I mean, you got plenty to choose from. Why are we picking on the person who's trying to back out, who's trying to leave the no parking zone? Well, he's going to be a horse's butt, and he was successful at that. And I told him he was, and he told me, I can't wait to take you to jail. And I was like, whenever you're ready, you know. And so we're at a standoff. Finally, he writes 2 tickets for not for parking in a no parking zone, illegal stopping. I had been a police officer in Louisiana. I know what that ticket is. That's $300. I'm like, okay, game on, bud. Game on. So she leaves. I text our friends who are with us, and I was like, hey, I'm having to move. There's nowhere to park. Just had to run in with a deputy, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, just come get us because this line hadn't moved yet. And I go get them, and we're leaving. Well, the couple that we're with, the husband happened to be a deputy for Union County Sheriff's Office at the time. So he gets on the phone with the sheriff's department there in Lincoln Parish. And they basically tell him to take a flying leap. And he's like, you got it. And he hands me those tickets after he hangs up, and he says, do what you got to do. So that Monday, I go in on the radio, and I'm like, Boomer says, hey, man, how was that concert? I was like, never got in. What do you mean? And I tell that story, what I've just told you. About an hour after we got off the air that morning, I get a call, and it's from the sheriff of Lincoln Parish. And he says, hey, I understand you had to run in with one of my deputies. I said, yes, sir. He said, I understand you were a little rough with him. I said, I was never any rougher with him than he was with me. I never spoke to him in any way he wasn't already speaking to me or my wife. And he's like, yeah, I kind of picked up on that. And he mentioned a prosecutor who was down there. He said, you know so-and-so? I said, I know so-and-so very well. I've testified in hundreds of cases that he was the prosecutor. He said, yeah, well, when that guy tells me that if you're saying it, I need to believe it. He said, those tickets are gone. And I was like, I'm not asking you to. He said, all I'm asking is please come back and enjoy Ruston once again. Don't write us off. Mm-hmm. That's not what I was asking for at all.
Right.
But I gave this guy exactly what he was giving.
Right.
And my thing is I respect the badge. I've worn the badge. I know. But I've also worn the badge and had officers who worked for me that I'm like, dude, you can't ever do that again.
Right. But even if they're a bad cop, you're not going to solve it.
You're not going to solve it on the side of the road.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of these videos, if they tell you got to get out of the car, you got to get out of the car.
Well, Supreme Court has already said, okay,
something versus Mims.
It's Ohio.
Yeah.
It's something versus Ohio. If the officer orders you out of the vehicle, you have to get out.
Yeah.
That is a legal, lawful order. Mm-hmm. And this whole thing, I need a supervisor. Mm-hmm. There is no law that says they have to provide a supervisor.
Right.
And what's the supervisor going to do? I'll tell you this, if that supervisor shows up and doesn't back up his officer, he doesn't deserve to be a supervisor. Right. Unless that officer's just egregiously wrong, of course.
Right. Well, in a case like that, you know, we got body cams. We go through and we look at certain ones every once in a while just to see how our officers, even the ones that we don't get a complaint on, or somebody calls me and says, hey, this guy was out of line. Because I don't want my officers treating you like that.
No.
That was a disrespect.
Yes.
When he found out that she was fixing to leave, yes, ma'am, go ahead, be on your way. That's all it should have been said.
Yeah. Thank you. We're trying to get all these cars out of here.
Right. And we shouldn't have stood there and being a jerk.
Yeah, he was. He was being a jerk.
And here's the deal: where Rabs was, it's a different steakhouse now, but the venue was not.
Yeah,
it was. You've been there. It's small.
Yeah. It's very small.
There is no place to park. And if you're going to put a couple of thousand people in there to see whatever group,
and this was a big name concert. Yeah. This wasn't like it was just some random regional.
They're going to be parked all the way back up past Temple Baptist Church, and it's going to be all up and down that service road. And so you either got to do that before and have officers there and say, there's no parking over here.
Yeah. Right.
Or Rabs needs to say, listen, we're about to have this big event. Please leave our people alone as long as and it's a one-way.
Yes, it's one way.
So it's not like people on both sides of the road is going to block the two-way traffic. You can only come from the west and go back east on that.
Yes.
On that south service road. So anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's just it. Instead of getting, taking it to social media, taking it, be a keyboard warrior, give me a call. Let me take care of it. And if you don't like the way I handle it, or you don't like the way we handle it, then
now you have calls.
Now you have calls.
Hey, I did. Ricky Roberts said, call him. I did. And I'm not satisfied.
That's right. And, you know, and at the end of the day, you still may be upset with us because.
But you had your say.
Right. Because I'm going to tell you this. I could stand in the middle of Northwest Avenue and I could hand $100 bills to everybody came through. And guess what?
They wouldn't like you.
Somebody's going to complain.
Yeah.
I didn't fold it right, or I didn't smile, or I didn't, you know.
I had my daughter with me and he didn't hand her one.
Or you didn't give me 200. You know, I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that.
There will always be those.
We are human. You got to understand, we're human. We're going to make mistakes. We try to limit our mistakes. If you have an issue with the El Dorado Police Department, by all means, call me. Call me. Let me see, or come see me. Let me see what you're talking about. I had a man yesterday call me about an accident report. He didn't like the way it was written. He says we didn't put his side on the accident report. Well, I said, sir, let me see. That shift just happens to be on. Let me get one of their supervisors to look at it and give you a call back. My secretary, as I'm getting off the phone with him, my secretary is bringing me the accident report. And what he said wasn't on the accident report, was on page 12 of the 13th page. So you see, and
he didn't read it all.
And you know what my first thing is? I can't stand these accident reports. I don't like them. I don't like that they got 13 pages.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to go through 13 pages.
Yeah.
And so I go to the young officer that did the accident, and she says, I put it on there. It's on there. So then the supervisor calls him and he says, oh, okay.
He hadn't read the whole thing.
But that's what we're talking about. I've had another guy comes to me. He didn't like the way his accident was. Well, guess what? I got the people involved. They sat down at the table. Y'all work it out. He says, I'm good with it. And he goes. He didn't beat us up on social media.
Yeah.
But I just wish people would slow down just a little bit.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I go to Walmart and somebody's, you know, mad at, you know, cuts me short or does whatever, I don't go to the manager and say, hey, you know, I'm just like, I'm going to stay out of his way, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to complain and about the officers. Yes, I try to, you know, tell them you need to limit your bad days because that's when you get in my office.
Yeah.
That's when you're going to come to my office. If you come to work and you're already having a bad day, you know, just like I tell them, when you get off, leave it at that door. Don't take it home with you. Your family doesn't deserve to be treated as, you know, whatever. They don't deserve to be, you know, the police when you were police at home. Your dad, your husband, your wife or your, you know, mom, and enjoy your family. Because at the end of the day, and when I walked out of the police department the first time and retired, and when I walked out of the sheriff's office retired, who did I walk out with? My family.
Your family, that's right.
And that's only who I'm going to have at the end of all of this.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to quit having phone calls. People quit texting me on Sunday night saying, hey, look at this, or, you know, things like that. I have a lot of people in El Dorado's got my cell phone number. I mean,
and if not, we'll post it on the screen. No, we won't. We won't do that.
The bottom.
Hey, that'll work. But I love this job. I've always loved this job.
You have always loved this job.
And I just want to make a difference. I'm not trying to make a difference for Ricky Roberts. That police department is that police department.
Yep.
It's not Ricky Roberts' police department. And I've told him just this week, I said, you're only as good as the people under you.
Yep.
And you're trying to build those young people up, trying to teach them the right way of doing things. I'm looking for the next
guy to move up
to take over.
Yeah.
And some people call it the next sucker. But, you know,
I agree.
Punching bag.
But you know, that's what we're trying to do. We're sending people to train, and you know, I saw that the other day about training. You know, we already are under a 24. You have to have 24 hours of continual training every year, And if you don't meet that standard, then you have to go back and be retrained or whatever. So we're on restraints as far as the training goes. We got to keep up with it because the law changes, every day or every week or whatever. We question, murder second as far as manslaughter. Well, because they changed one word, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. So you got to learn and you got to keep up with the laws. We're trying to keep up with, the technology and the new way, I call them new jack police, how they do things. We got a lot of FOIA that's coming in. We're trying to figure out, how do we do that? Yeah. FOIA takes up a lot of our time. But you don't have
a public information officer.
Well, we don't per se.
You need one.
Well, I need a lot of things.
Yeah, you need a lot of things. That's true.
I need a lot of things.
But honestly, a public information officer is can be one of the best assets to a chief or a sheriff. Somebody who that's their sole job is to write press releases, and again,
do they handle the complaints coming in?
Well, they log them.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be handling them because they're not on the street.
Yeah.
But my thing is again, if I'm a dogged advocate for FOIA, very much so. It is. I have never been of the belief that media is the fourth branch of government. I don't believe that. I believe we are totally removed, but we are the watchdogs, and FOIA is the only teeth we have. FOIA is not just available to the media, however, it's available to the common citizen, as it should be. But if with a public information officer, they can log these things. I'm responding to these in order as they were received. Here was my response. And that stops a lot. My experience has been Steve Prater, who was sheriff of Caddo Parish, was one of the first people to really invest in a public information officer. And he will tell you to this day that it changed his life.
Oh, yeah.
By having someone that's their sole responsibility. So when they say to him, Sheriff, what about this FOIA request? Talk to my public information officer. And then that POI could then say, hey, I've got you on the list. Here's the list. Mm-hmm. Here's the requests we have. You're third on the list from when I get done with this next thing.
Yeah. Well, we're kicking around having a full-time FOIA person because between us and the city hall, we could probably justify that.
You can.
Yeah. So we're exploring some other options. Some of the larger cities have not only a FOIA person, but they have some FOIA software that keeps up with it. How much hours, how much time, how much, all the requests as they come in. But it's like everything else, it's costly.
Yeah.
So we have one guy that takes care of our FOIA. Our public information officer depends on whether it's a patrol issue or an investigation issue. We have different guys. We don't have one per se. I see the advantage of that, and we got a budget, and we got to live within that budget.
You got to live within that budget. I get it.
So we and this is 8 months in. I've been back.
Has it been 8 months already?
Really?
Wow. It doesn't seem like it.
And we still got some things we're going to work through. And it's like I was telling them today. I want to leave this place better than what I found it.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you lacking? You have enough officers on the street, or where are our lackings at?
We have, most shifts have 4 patrol officers and a sergeant and a lieutenant. However, we just hired a new guy. He's going to be the fifth on a shift, and then we got 3 in the academy that they graduate at the end of the month.
Yeah.
So that's going to put us another. So you'll have 7 officers on a given night out there. We've got 50. Well, we've got one that works the airport, but we have 4 openings. And it's, people just not wanting to get into this business.
Do you blame them?
Not really.
No.
And it's because a lot of things, it's not just the stress and strain of the job. It's a lot of
perception of things that people.
And then, every time you look up, somebody's, got the phone
film in
out
it.
you know, and I'm pointing at, you know, the body cams and saying, you know, we're filming you just like, I mean, we're recording you just like you are us.
Yep.
And, but, I mean, we got 4 openings, and it's like I tell people, not everybody deserves to wear an El Dorado Police Department uniform.
Yeah.
And we're not just going to hire for numbers. And
sure.
And I think that's the bigger the bigger departments. That's where they're there's a lot of where they're
just having to fill a spot and not getting
that's
quality.
A lot of
people.
where their problems are coming from. They're not vetting these people.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes when you get to looking and I look at their application and I go employment history, and you got 3 or 4 different departments. You know,
in 2 years,
as my grandson would say, that's a Blues Clue.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, something's going on.
Yeah.
And then you make a phone call, and it's how that person on that end of that phone with that agency says, "Oh, well, you know, he's not up for rehire."
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
Yeah. The magic question is,
yes.
would
And
you
that's-
rehire him? Yeah.
And we can't disclose everything. We can go back and look, but you know,
my code was always, so someone would come in and say, I'm calling for a reference for so-and-so for Boomer. And I say, okay. Would you say Boomer was a good employee? Boomer worked here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Would Boomer be available for
he
rehire?
worked here.
Boomer worked here.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Well,
you know, that was always code.
You know, and if we have a bad apple and we get rid of that bad apple, we should be able, in law enforcement, we should be able to say, hey,
yes,
but we'll say, come look at his file.
Yeah.
And if they're interested in him and they got any stock in him, they'll come and look at his file, because your file has got a lot of information in it.
Yes.
And I wish the law would say, hey, he did this, he did this, he did this. He's no good. He needs to get out of law enforcement. So now they've got this decertification at the state level.
Yes.
And they have been decertifying a lot of folks.
Yeah, I've noticed.
And one of the most things is lying.
Yes.
And, you know, and I've told these officers all the time, don't lie or don't steal from me. I don't like a liar and I don't like a thief. If I catch you doing any of those 2 things, you're gone. I'm not going to put up with it. Because if you lie to me, then what are you going to tell on that citizen out there that you stopped? Are you going to take that money that they had? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? So that's
where the public starts losing confidence in the police
As a
department.
sergeant, I would read a report, an arrest report someone would make, and I would call them over and say, listen, I was at this arrest. Are you really sure you really want that to be how this is perceived? Because I'm not a lawyer, but I'm just telling you, if I am, I'm going to call some of this into question. Mm-hmm. These are things you're going to have to answer on the stand. Mm-hmm. And why don't you take a look at my report? And I had a captain who used to tell me all the time, said, they don't want a freaking novel, Sanford. Mm-hmm. They don't want a novel. Just give them a quick down and dirty. And we were in court one day, and the DA says, hey, y'all come here. It's me and my captain. We were both in on this arrest. And he holds up the captain's report. It's like 1 page. And it's like this. It's like half a page. And then he holds up mine. It's like 4 pages. He said, this yours? Holds it up. And I was like, yes, sir. He said, thank you. Mm-hmm. He said, I never have a question after I read your report. There's nothing else I need to know. He said, you tell me everything I need. And inside, I wanted to be like, to my captain, but I didn't.
What'd you want to do?
But
got him to do it.
Yeah. But he deserved it. He was, I always said if there was one person who's going to send me to hell for hating him, it was that guy. But, you know, that report, you can write something creatively to embellish it, or write something factual. And I would tell my guys, say, hey, there's no Stephen King's here, okay? Mm-mm. Write me the facts of what happened. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go I'm going to go watch the video before I let you submit this report anyway. So, you know, when you're like, you know, the subject was jumpy or irritated or combative
movement,
combative or non-compliant, I'm going to be watching for those things.
Right.
And when I watch the video and I don't see them being, you know, jumpy or non-compliant or grumpy or whatever it is you think they are, I'm going to send you this report back, because that's the same thing that defense attorney's going to do.
Sure.
Is going to pop that video up and say, where is he being non-compliant? You asked for his license, he gave it to you. You asked for his insurance, he gave it to you. You asked for his registration, he gave it to you. You asked him to step out of the car, he stepped right out. Where is he being non-compliant? But, you know. And
I had to ask him twice.
So what? You know, tell me the last time I hadn't had to ask my kids something twice. You know, so it's that situation of, and it exists. I'm the police, and I said so.
Yeah.
No. That's one great thing. Let's go back, Boomer. One day, I'm leaving the office. I drive out of the parking lot. I get down to Callion Road and 19th, and my phone rings. And it's Sharon Peterson, who's my secretary for 10 plus years. She says, Sandy, we had a truck come through the building. I said, again? And she was like, yes. But this one actually, I was like, okay. So I turn around, I come back. A dump truck has rolled over in the middle of the highway. Big rocks of concrete rolled through the building. Would have killed the boy who normally sat at that desk, but he had just gotten up to go to the other building. And it has all of Northwest Avenue shut down for hours. This happened like 10 in the morning. At 6 o'clock that evening, it's still shut down. They're having to get all this concrete out of the building. And so at one point, the officers who were out on scene, and there was 4, couldn't control the intersection at Northwest and 19th. And one officer in particular, I remember who it was, I'm not going to say, but he's screaming and hollering at people, and he's slapping their cars. And I walked up to the lieutenant on scene. I said, hey, excuse my French, your guy looks like an ass clown. Okay. Well, this guy hears me. He runs up on me like 6'3" and starts screaming at me. And I said, first of all, I was not talking to you. And I sent him on his way. Well, all this gets back to Ricky, who was chief at the time. He calls me the next morning. You in your office? I said, yeah. He said, good, because I'm in your parking lot. So he comes in my office. He said, you want to tell me what happened yesterday? And I was like, yeah. And I told him. And he said, that's pretty much the story I got. I said, Ricky, here's my thing. You or I, either one, by ourselves, could control that entire intersection with a pair of gloves and a whistle. There's no doubt in my mind I could control Northwest Avenue and 19th with a pair of white gloves and a whistle. And I said, yet you had 4 guys out there who couldn't. And I said, and their excuse was, well, we've been out here a long time. And Ricky said, that doesn't fly with me. He said, because I pulled up on the scene and said, hey, guys, I think y'all's protocol at that time was 2 hours at most on a scene like that. You say, y'all been out here 2 hours. Let me send somebody to replace you. And they're like, no, we're fine. Isn't that what happened? Yeah. No, we're fine. And then he asks me, he says, where was your whistle? Well, it was in my car. He said, so you were out of uniform. And I wasn't very well liked by a couple of police officers there for a while. But that was my whole thing was Ricky or I, or Elizabeth or Boomer with just a little bit of training, with a pair of white gloves and a whistle could have controlled that intersection. It wouldn't have been ideal, of course, but we could have. And that was the thing I always appreciated about Ricky was he's going to come down, he's going to ask you, hey, what happened? He's comparing it to the story he's already been told. And he's like, yep, that's pretty much the story I got. And, you know, I appreciated that level of accountability he held his officers to. Yeah. And that's what I've always appreciated about our local police department is there's been some times, there's been some cowboys, but otherwise, for the most part, when you talk to someone in authority, they would say, let me get back to you on that. And they fix it. I don't have to know how you fixed it, but they fixed it, you know, and that's the biggest thing to me is a chief who listens to his community. You know, we've all seen, I think it's Broward County, Florida. Yeah. That sheriff, he'll go out and he'll ride with his guys. Yeah. And, you know, of course, they're only going to show the great stops. They're not going to show. Yeah. But I've seen interviews with that sheriff since, and he's like, oh, yeah. He said, I don't show you the ones where I got to chew a guy's butt out. Yeah. Because he was being a horse's butt, you know. Yep. And he said, I don't show you the ones where, you know, my guy was wrong. I'm not going to show those. Of course not. He said, but believe me, they happen. And when they do, we address it. Yep. And that amount of openness, I certainly always appreciate.
So bottom line, Ricky, we certainly appreciate your service to what you've done to come back again. And just because you love the city and love this area, and boy, I'm telling you, to have somebody that wants to leave it better than where they got it. Yes. That is a huge plus. and old people like me get to sleep better at night. Because hey, where I live, we live on the edge. Mm-hmm. You know, we're not.
Boomer's neighborhood goes from historic to hood like that.
And we had some friends over one night and they're pow, 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 pow. I said, well, what was that? I said, it's gunshots, man. Don't worry about it.
We had that happen the other night. I mean, this was what's today, Wednesday? This was like Saturday night or Sunday night. Casey and I are sitting there in the house and pow! And I was like,
gunshot.
That was a gunshot. And I said, that's closer than the stop sign. We're used to them at the stop sign over there. But I said, that's closer than the stop sign. I get out, I walk around a little bit in the backyard. I don't see anything. So I get in the truck and I drive around the corner. And as I do, there's a vehicle parked between that business establishment there and the fence to my backyard. And I'm like, oh. So I call the police department and I finally get through to his dispatcher and I said, hey, don't know if there's anything to it, but just heard gunshots. There is a vehicle parked right here. Y'all might just want to send somebody to check it out. I don't know whatever happened. They may have pulled up there and it might have been two teenagers making out. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, there are things. I mean,
hey, this weekend.
Oh, it's going to be
on. Be crazy.
Listen, I swear every year.
In my neighborhood, brother.
I swear every year. You know, fireworks are banned inside the city limits, right?
Yeah.
But I swear every year they're over there blowing up propane tanks. It's so loud.
It is.
You know. Yeah, in the church parking lot over there. Yeah. And I was home one night and I texted Elizabeth because, like I said, she lives across the street. And I said, did you just hear them gunshots? She's like, yeah, I didn't know it was that kind of party. Like, we're both outside with our pistols. Like, hey, where's the party?
There you go.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy this week. And they can do fireworks at a certain time in the city, can't they?
I don't think
Not
so
anymore.
No. I don't think so.
That was just one time.
That was rescinded.
Oh, that's right. It was. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I forgot that.
But listen, do I really truthfully want the police out here for every fireworks?
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, don't be calling them.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Y'all go handle something big, okay?
Yeah.
I'd rather you be on standby if something breaks out than to be down here chasing out kids shooting bottle rockets.
Yeah.
You know. And it could catch your house on fire. Man, I've got that thing insured to the hilt. Okay, it would be inconvenient.
Just waiting for some lightning,
but it's insured. Okay,
the only one who'd be crying would be the insurance.
Yeah, that's right. Jason Hardy'd be mad, but the rest of us are going to be okay. You know? Let's take a break. How about that?
All right,
we'll come back. We'll have more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
A new shipment of express boats is in at Country Village Sporting Goods. Or maybe your boat just needs a little TLC. We have appointments available in our service department. And of course, we keep a great selection of Catalina campers. New baits, new tackle, and the latest in gear are arriving every week. So when we say everything you need to get to the water, the woods, or the camp, you know we're talking about Country Village Sporting Goods, 965 Smackover Highway in El Dorado. Like us on Facebook.
Rated the #1 course in Arkansas by Golf Week, Mystic Creek is truly a hidden gem, complemented by a modern clubhouse, complete with panoramic views. It also features a fully stocked pro shop and Mystic Grill, serving contemporary American cuisine and Southern classics. Mystic Creek promises an unforgettable experience.
Bad things happen, and of course, they never happen at the right time. Maybe it's just a little bump and cosmetic damage, or it's turned into a huge insurance claim and you just don't know where to go next. That's why so many of your neighbors and friends call on Cook's Body Shop in El Dorado. From the minor to the major, Cook's Body Shop is in your corner. Need someone to help you deal with insurance? Look to Cook's. Need advice on what to do next? Look to Cook's. Need a free estimate? Look to Cook's. Bad things are going to happen, and when they do, look to Cook's.
When it comes to your family's financial future, peace of mind matters. At Harrison Financial Management, they are right here to help you plan, grow, and protect what matters most. Whether you're planning for retirement, investing wisely, or securing your family's future, they will guide you every step of the way. Harrison Financial Management, your future, their commitment.
Welcome to Davis Farms Country Market in El Dorado, Arkansas. This is more than just a place to shop. It is a place where local farms, markets, and families can share what they do best. Inside, you'll find fresh produce, locally raised beef and pork, farm-fresh eggs, jams, honey, seasonings, baked goods, grilling supplies, and plenty of Arkansas-made favorites. There's also a deli serving sandwiches, salads, gumbo, and other tasty choices. So whether you are planning supper, shopping for a gift, or searching for something delicious, stop by Davis Farms Country Market. Just be careful. You may come in for one thing and leave with 17. Davis Farms Country Market.
32 years ago, a young Robert Rushing began his life of public service joining the El Dorado Fire Department. While saving lives during the day, Robert Rushing put himself through college and law school at night, eventually opening a law practice in 2010 to protect and serve the rights of people in South Arkansas. By the way, he was still working as a fireman at the time. And after 23 years of service, Robert Rushing answered the call again and was elected as city attorney. Today, Robert Rushing still has that desire to serve. Re-elect Robert Rushing as El Dorado city attorney.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer, sometimes Jackson, now sometimes Ricky Roberts. So, you don't want that name, those naming rights? I don't blame you. I don't like Boomer and I neither one like having our name on this show either.
Trust me, I have been called worse.
Recently, today.
Yes, and more so tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Boomer, not all heroes wear capes.
They don't.
Mm-mm. So, for example, at my house yesterday, a few days ago, I had bought a box of Little Debbie Nutty Buddies, which is the best thing Little Debbie makes, incidentally. That and Star Crunches. And I took those Nutty Buddies and I took one out of the box and I put it in the freezer. You know why? So that it won't turn to poison. Because, you know, if you don't put candy and stuff like that in the freezer, it's liable to turn to poison. And I got it out.
What you tell the kids?
Didn't know that.
Yeah. I got it out last night.
We don't have little kids.
And I'm eating it. And they're like, Daddy, why do you put it in the freezer? So it won't turn to poison. And I was like, you're welcome. Not all heroes wear capes.
You lie to your kids like that.
Of course I do. It's the best part of having kids.
Yeah, it is.
Is to lie to them.
Yeah.
I love lying to them.
See how much you can mangle their personalities.
How about a letter?
Oh.
You know, we get letters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
not always good.
They're not always good. This one isn't bad. Dear Sandy and Boomer, one reason I have kept my friends is because I do not borrow money from them and I do not let them borrow money from me. However, a couple of weeks ago, one of my friends was talking and he was talking about being short, needing a certain amount of money. I handed him the money. He refused, tried to hand it back to me. I handed it back to him and said, whatever it takes, let's just get this taken care of. He has since taken care of his situation. I don't want to get into all that. But without even offering to pay me back, has now bought a new side-by-side.
Ooh.
Am I wrong for thinking he should at least offer to pay me back? Signed, I wouldn't take it anyway.
Well, I don't know. That's
biblically speaking. Okay.
Yes.
You know, and we've all been in church meetings where we're like, I don't care what the Bible says. Oh, okay. You know, but biblically speaking, you give people money without expecting it in return.
Yeah.
However, I tend to agree. Dude's now went and bought a side-by-side. You helped him out of a crunch.
Yeah.
He had the money to go get a side-by-side.
But didn't offer to pay you back.
But didn't offer to pay you back.
But you're saying even if you just wanted him to do the right thing.
I
You
wanted him to do the
money.
right thing. And that to me is the issue. You cannot be mad at people for not acting like you would act.
Yeah.
You just can't.
I had a dear friend that Martha and I were married just a year or two, and we had an outside person that we just couldn't understand why they were acting like that. And she came over and counseled us. You know, we were still, we thought we knew everything. We were low 30s. Back then, you think you know everything.
Which, by the way, compared to when you were 19 and 20, you did.
You did. You knew a lot more than you did at 19. Me, not much. But she said, here's the thing. Said, you're expecting them to do the right thing. He said, it's not always good to expect certain people to do the right thing. If you know their nature, know they're not good at doing the right thing, well, then don't get upset when they don't do it.
When they don't do it, yeah.
Because if he'd been making good choices, he may not have been in a bind for money anyway.
Well, let me tell y'all a story. maybe this will help. I don't know. And Boomer will remember this very well. One time, Boomer and I had to go to Vegas for a radio thing. And we go to Vegas, and we had some time between sessions. And so I thought I'd go down to the tables and, try my luck, right? Consider myself to be a pretty good poker player, and I'm okay. Boomer, he's out there by the pool. He's laid up by the pool. He keeps telling them some more sweet tea. They don't know what sweet tea is in Vegas, by the way. And so I walk up to him and said, "Hey, Boomer, I need a favor." He's like, "Yeah, what's that?" I said, "I need $500, man. My ATM won't let me get 500 more until after 1 a.m. tonight." And he said, "Yeah, it's because they know you." So I'm like, "I need $500." He's like, "Okay." So he gives me $500. And I don't guess I saw him again till the next morning. And he was like, "Did you get that 500?" And I was like, yeah, I'll get it to you later today. And I didn't think about it again. He didn't say anything else about it. We're there for another 3 or 4 days, and we're about to get on the plane. And he said, "Sandy, I'm just going to give you some advice." And he said, "It's worth what you paid for it. Nothing. Okay. But I'm going to give you some advice. Not paying people back, it's pretty disrespectful." And I said, "Well, you think you have it bad. You've lost $500. I lost 5,000. I mean, take your lumps where you get them, Boomer. You shouldn't have loaned me the money." I think I did pay him back.
Yeah. Well, it was just like we watched a lot of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yes.
Well, the brother was
the cop brother,
the giant.
Yeah.
He was he was running short, and so Ray and his wife gave him $1,000. Well, then turned right back around, and he's going to Vegas. And Ray questions him, and it's you got to see it. I mean, they're hilarious. And so Ray and Deborah was questioning him, and he says, "Well, I'm going to Vegas on the $1,000 you gave me." I can imagine that's kind of like what that is, I mean,
not so much. Once
I give it to you,
yeah,
I'd like to have it back, but
I tried to use scripture on Boomer, and he's like, "Hey, you don't get to take my money and gamble in Vegas and then try to use scripture."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, Pharisee."
Oh, that guy with Tulsa, he built the big university. What was his name? That
T. Boone Pickens?
No, the preacher in Tulsa.
Oral Roberts.
Oral Roberts.
Yeah.
He got all that money from the dog track in Florida. He said, "Well, as soon as they quit gambling with it and they give it to me, that's God's money now."
That's right.
Didn't somebody give him like $2 million?
Oh, it was some huge number. But he said that God had told him, if you don't raise $8 million, and I don't remember what the number was, whatever, $8 million by such and such date, I'm gonna call you home.
Yeah,
and then he locks himself in a tower, and he's praying.
The people gave it to him,
and at the last minute, some guy who owns a dog track in Florida came up with like $2.5 million
keep him from dying.
To keep him from dying.
I had a buddy that went to
I need to run me a scheme like that.
Yeah, they got paid. I mean,
ladies and gentlemen, I just got a word.
I need y'all. I need
$25 between now and next Wednesday.
That's right.
We all eat.
Tulsa University, a buddy of mine was going there, and we went to visit some people that went to Oral Roberts. Brother, they had much better stuff than we had.
Oh, yeah.
At Louisiana Tech or Tulsa.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rooms were.
Yeah, I always loved it.
70s.
Oral Roberts said, "The Lord's given me this vision to build a university in His name, for His honor, to raise up preachers to preach the gospel, and we're going to name it Oral Roberts University." Hey, by the way, they have a pretty good baseball team.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not shabby in baseball.
Yeah.
So
I knew that.
You keep up with baseball, any college baseball?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
The Hogs evidently this year just wasn't their year. It
was supposed to be.
It was supposed to be. They go
year before.
Yeah.
Well,
we go all back 2018 and that pop-up fly that lands out there foul. Man, that still makes me sick at my stomach.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, that was bad.
But I mean, the schedule. We talked about this before the beginning of the season.
Yes, the schedule was made perfectly
kind of a cakewalk, not a cakewalk, but
yes, the SEC is never a cakewalk.
It was
but still
little less. But challenging.
You didn't play Texas this year until the SEC tournament. You didn't have to play LSU. You didn't have to play Tennessee. And there was
those two of those were in the tournament.
Yeah. They ended up in the College World Series. Georgia. You didn't have to play Georgia this year. Now you did. Yeah, you did. You played Georgia because I think we got swept by Georgia.
Well, that's who I had picked to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
Georgia. I couldn't see anybody.
They had the offense.
Yeah.
There was no reason they didn't win.
Yeah.
But that's baseball, man.
I would have never thought that Oklahoma would have beat North
Carolina. No, I wouldn't have either.
But they did.
But the first half of the season, wasn't Oklahoma like 9-18?
Yeah.
I mean, they were.
They lost the last 3 or 4 of the last series.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wow. But it's all about whenever
it's when you get hot.
That's it.
Hey, I've coached enough. I had teams that we went into tournaments, and I'm like, guys, don't worry. We're leaving today. We'll play a game today. We'll lose. We'll lose again tonight. We'll be home by tomorrow morning. Don't worry about it. And then next thing you know, we're in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how did
we
that
do
happen?
that?
Yeah, how did that happen? But it's just all when you get hot. We had a team one time. We played this one team. When I was coaching travel ball, and they were called the Red Sticks. And the first time we played them, they mercy ruled us. Mm-hmm. It was, I don't know, 10-12 nothing, 10-12 to 1, something like that. And they mercy ruled us. The next time we played them, they beat us 6-4. Okay, we played them a pretty good game. The third time we played them was in the state tournament, and they won that game 5-4. And their coach told me after, he said, I don't want to play y'all again. He said,
y'all figured us out.
He said, y'all had 11 atom balls. You know what an atom ball is, Boom? Hit it right at them.
Oh, Adam. I thought you were like,
yeah,
I got you.
He said, y'all had 11 atom balls. And he was right. One point we had bases loaded with 1 out. And one of my kids comes up and crushes a ball. And the second baseman, just to save his own life, throws a glove up there and catches it. Well, he doubles off another player, and that's the end of the inning. Mm-hmm. Normally you have bases loaded with 1 out. You're coming out with some runs. Mm-hmm. There were times we hit one, scorcher, and it would just like knock the shortstop over, and the ball still dangling there, and third baseman would grab it. That we just had that kind of game against those guys. He's like, I don't want to play y'all again. It's a little too tough. I don't want to do that again. But I've coached those teams. When Casey and I, before we started dating, we're talking to each other via text, and I think we were in Tupelo. I'm in Tupelo coaching a baseball game. My phone's blowing up in my pocket, and she's like, "Do you want to have lunch tomorrow?" I said, "Well, it kind of depends." And she's like, "On what?" And I said, "If we win this ball game, we're playing again tomorrow. If not, we're coming home tonight." And she said, "Well, I hope you lose."
Right.
And we did.
Well, you talk about that. My 10-year-old step grandson, he's on a travel team, and we've been following him around, and the girls are in dance, so we follow them around as well. Well, this past Saturday, he was in a tournament here, his travel team, which is the Lycus Lobos, all right?
Yeah.
And they're 10U.
Yeah.
And these little boys, they've been together. Well, we've known of them about 3 years that we've been around. But anyway, so they go to this tournament this weekend, and it's a 12U tournament, but it's 10U. This little team is 10U. And so they play at 9:00. They win. They play again, 12:30 or so. And they're playing a Texarkana team, and these kids are a foot taller than these 10-year-olds. Well, they beat us 7-6. So then we go to the next bracket, and so they have 2 divisions. Now we're in this other division. So we play the same team we played that morning. Mm-hmm. We were beating them 8-4, and they called the game because of the heat. Well, then we played at the championship game was a team that's called Delta Elite, and they had just beat the other El Dorado Union County team, and just smoked them. Mm-hmm. There's one kid gets up there and he hits a home run, and it's way over the fence.
They hadn't found it yet.
No.
Yeah.
So our little boys get up there, and they beat that team 13-0.
Oh my!
Wow.
Smoked them. And at the end, they're coming. They meet. And they're shaking hands or doing whatever. It looked like they were playing the Giants.
Yes.
And it's awesome to say that, you know, I don't know what that team would have said. Well, we got beat by these little boys.
Yeah.
But them little boys can play ball, and they're a good little team. They're well coached. Yeah, you never know.
You don't
never know.
You know, funny you say that. We were in a tournament in Texarkana one time, and our team was an 11U, and one of the team. So that tournament was going to have a bunch of different age brackets. Well, only one team signed up for 13U. Well, let me just tell you the difference between an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
It's a massive difference, right? There's kids out there who's filling in their bodies.
Yeah.
You know. And so I walk over. This team's beating the brakes off of us. And you know what? To their coach, kudos to you, sir, because once they got up like 9 or 10 runs, their coach would be like, they'd hit a ball and he'd stop them at first. Even if it was in the gap, he'd stop them at first. And then he said, hey, we're going to bunt this entire inning. All we're going to do is bunt. And I have my third baseman, like even with the pitcher. And we still couldn't get them out. You know? But anyway, these kids, I walked over to the umpire and said one point, I said, look, I'm not trying to say anything untoward's going on here, but that kid playing first base, he pulled up in an RV with a bunch of kids calling him daddy. I said, he shaved before he came out here on the field.
Exactly.
And that umpire started laughing. He said, I thought he had a 5 o'clock shadow. But you know, that's the thing is, with baseball is there really does become a difference. You know, I refereed high school football. And I used to always wonder, why is it that, you know, you're refereeing a 7th grade game, for example, the first year they're able to really play competitive school associated football. And you're playing a team like CrossFit and I'm not picking on CrossFit, but CrossFit or Monticello or someone who's a lower classification than El Dorado, and they're playing them tight to the hilt, right? And then the next game is an 8th grade game and it's similar. But then you do like a JV game and it's not even close. El Dorado's blowing them off the field and you're like, why? Right. Well, one was coaching, but two is there's just a difference in the body at that point. You know, when you only have 20 kids and we have 30, it's not really that big of a difference in 7th and 8th grade. But you get up to about 15 or 16 years old, there's a huge difference if you have 20 and we have 30 or 35 kids. And, you know, every year when Jax would make All-Stars, I think every single year he made All-Stars, we played the district tournament. The finals was always us versus CrossFit every single year. And then we would both go to the state tournament and the finals in that would always be us versus CrossFit every single year. And it was, you're like, how is it? Why don't we ever hear about this El Dorado CrossFit rival at the high school level? Because when they got to the high school level, it was number one, coaching. And number two was just the difference in the bodies. You know, when they're 9, 10, 11 years old, not a lot of difference. But when we got 25 kids over here who've been on a diet regimen, who've been on a weight regimen, the high school coaches are now coming down to the boys club field and saying, hey, here's what I need these guys to know. This, and this. And we had a baseball coach here in El Dorado a few years ago, Coach Paisan. And a little short Italian guy. And he got all of us boys club coaches together one day and he said, look, if you're not teaching your kids this, and this, they can never play for me. And I'm like, okay. So we're teaching that to these kids. And people used to tell me, they'd say, Sandy, you look like a drill instructor out there. And I don't know. I guess, again, my dad was a professional baseball player. He coached me my entire life. And I guess I mimic him to some extent. But I give a whistle, 1. And when I yell 1, there's kids right now watching this podcast who are 27 years old. When I just said that 1, they went, they don't even know why. 2, and they would put their hands here. And then 3, they would drop their butt down, head up, and their hands in front of them. And I would tell them all the time, I said, guys, every play you make on this field at this age, every play you make on this field is going to be either in the 1, the 2, or the 3. So when I'd have a kid, you know, a ball get hit to him and he would do one of these and get hit in the face with a ball. And, you know, they'd finally call time and I'd walk out there to check on him and his lips all swole up and all that. And I'd say, hey, buddy, that was an 11. We hadn't learned the 11 yet. Okay. We do it in a 1, 2, or a 3.
That's right.
And, you know, I loved teaching fundamentals to those kids. So I took it as a huge compliment Jax, and some of the other kids I coached when they were 9th graders. So this is their first year playing high school ball. There's a game, and I don't remember who they were playing, but the ball's hit to the gap, right center field. Jax is playing first base. There's already a runner on, and he's taking off. And whatever happens, I start hearing 4, 4, 4. And I look up, and it's Jax. He's running from the first base line with his back to the outfield, yelling 4 the entire time. He gets to home plate and turns around just in time, because I'm thinking he's going to get hit with this ball that's thrown. It's thrown on a laser. This ball comes in, he reaches down, he tags out that first runner. And, the crowd goes crazy. And one of the dads of one of the seniors walks over to me and he says, you can tell the kids that you and Kelly Gall coached. He said, you can just tell. Mm-hmm. And that felt better than anything ever, is that I taught those kids enough fundamentals that no one had to tell them how that infield should rotate. They rotated properly. Mm-hmm. And no one had to tell Jax, go cover home plate. He knew what to do. That was always the best part. Now, it made me look real smart as a coach when I had kids like Jackson Waldron, Kevin Waldron's son, and Jennifer's son. Jackson, that kid was so competitive. The first year he pitched for me, he would get up to bat, and let's just say he had 3 balls and no strikes. He would swing at ball 4 intentionally and miss it just so he could get another pitch, But this one season we're playing this Saturday game because we've been rained out so many times. And we get to this Saturday game, we're playing Robin Carroll's team. And Pete, Robin's son, awesome pitcher, left-handed. Kid was hard to hit. But I think Pete had used up all his innings that week, so he didn't have Pete on the mound. But I had all my innings I needed for Jackson. So Jackson's on the mound. And I think those games back then were either 5 or 7 innings. I don't remember. And so we're standing there. Steve Harrell's my assistant coach, and we're standing there watching Jackson's out there pitching. He says, you realize he hadn't given up a hit? And I was like, yeah. I said, the only person who reached base was the very first batter. He hit with the very first pitch. And he's like, you going to say anything to us? No, you never say anything to a pitcher throwing a no-hitter. And so he strikes out that kid. They come walking off field. He says, hey, coach, I got a no-hitter going. Okay, Jackson, good job, buddy. So he comes off the field. We bat around. And he goes back out on the field. He looks at me. He says, no, I've got a no-hitter going. Well, he strikes out the first 2 kids like they weren't even standing there. I mean, pow, 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 and they're out. Next kid comes up, and churns on one. Hits it as hard as I've seen any ball hit at that age group. And my poor little second baseman just and catches it in midair. Oh, wow. Ball game. He has his no-hitter. 14 strikeouts, I think. Wow. And after the game, I said, Jackson, you ever thrown a no-hitter before? He said, no, sir. And I was like, well, you did today. And so I had every kid sign the baseball. We put it, gave it to him. Fast forward 4, 5, 6 years later, I'm at my house, and it's like 11:30 at night on a Saturday night. And I get a text from Jennifer, his mom, and she says, Coach, are you awake? And I was like, yeah. She said, Jackson wants to talk to you. I said, well, tell him to call. Phone rings. I was like, hey, buddy. He said, Coach, just wanted to let you know, threw my second no-hitter today. That meant the world to me, that of all people he could call, having thrown a no-hitter, he wanted to call me. And, my son, Jax, one year he got really mad at me. He's like, why won't you ever let me pitch? I said, son, because you haven't done anything in the off season to tell me you deserve to pitch. What do you mean? I said, where's your baseball bag right now? In my closet. I said, yeah. When did it get put there? After All-Stars? I said, exactly. I said, it's spent the last 6 months laid in the back of your closet. You haven't done anything with it. Mm-hmm. And I said, you couldn't pitch last year. What have you done now to make you think you can? He's like, okay. So he goes out there and gets a piece of my firewood that I use for my smoker, and he measures it out in the yard. How far is it from home plate to the mound? I tell him. He goes out there and measures it out. He buries this piece of firewood like a pitching mound. Gets a piece of plywood and leans it up against the carport, and he paints a strike zone. He stands there and he's like, shh, shh. And he gets on the other side, shh, shh. And he makes a square. He makes a strike zone. And he's out there and he starts throwing at that strike zone. Well, that first month, I think, he's out there throwing every day. And he's beat that plywood up all around that strike zone. He ain't touched a strike zone yet. Well, after a couple of months, I'm out there watching him, and I keep noticing that lower outside corner to a right-handed hitter. That lower outside corner, he's beating the back out of that plywood. I mean, there's a hole. It's not enough for the ball to go through, but there's a hole there. He has beat the back out of that plywood. So when the season comes around and he gets ready to pitch, I said, yeah, I'll let you pitch. The first game he goes out, he throws a one-hitter. The next game he goes out, he throws a no-hitter. The third game he throws another one-hitter. And the fourth game he throws another no-hitter. But he put in the work.
All right.
And so when he got to high school, we went to one of his games, and it was a blowout. El Dorado was blowing out whomever it was. Varsity game. He's a freshman, and they bring him in to pitch. And now there's a lot of difference between a 14-year-old kid and an 18-year-old kid. You got to remember when baseball season ends. It's at the end of the school year, right? So you got seniors up there. Those are 18-year-old men, and I got a 14-year-old kid standing on the mound, and I'm like, oh dear God, I couldn't sit down. I'm pacing. I'm walking, and it's not like this game means anything, but I'm pacing. And I know this kid. He has two pitches. He has a fastball and a split finger fastball, and that's it. You know, he has a fastball and an off speed pitch. And to watch him just sit there and just control that and pick the perfect time. We had a game one day where this kid comes up, and kid's kind of up in the batter's box, and Jax blows a fastball by him. And their coach starts yelling, back up in the batter's box, back up in the batter's box. And they do, and Jax kind of glances over at me and kind of winks. And I was like,
Go throw a change up now.
And he throws a fork ball, which is just a split finger fastball, but when your hands aren't big enough, mine never were, they still aren't, you throw a fork ball. And Jack throws his fork ball, and this poor kid looks silly up there trying to swing, stuttering to get to it. And, you know, teaching those kids those things, that's always been the best part to me. And then again, getting thrown out of games, I've never minded. Carlos Caver. You know Carlos? We were playing a game. It's hot. Man, it's July, August. It's hot. And I have a pitcher on the mound. He looks like he's throwing strikes to me. And but my catcher's like, pop, and holding it there, and looks back at the umpire, throws back the pitcher a couple times, and then finally he pop, and the umpire doesn't call it, and he looks at me. And I'm like, okay, that's my clue. My catcher's looking at me now. So I call time. And like I said, it's so hot. I take a towel, I run it down in the water bucket, you know, get it wet. I walk out there, I'm wiping the little kid's face off. He's this tall, you know, wiping his face off. And I said, you okay? He's like, yes, sir. I said, where were those pitches? He said, in the strike zone, coach. He said, I don't understand. So I look Carlos dead in the eye. And then I just while I'm looking at him, I reach down, I wipe the plate off with that rag. And I said, can you see it now? And he just stands there. Normally, if you argue balls and strikes with an umpire, that's an automatic ejection. And I wipe it off real good. I said, are you sure? Can you see it? And he just stands there. And so I go back to my dugout, and I'm like, I can't believe he didn't throw me out of this game. That next week, I'm umpiring a game with Carlos. I said, hey, I got to ask you. I said, I walk out there, I wipe the plate off and ask if you can see it, and you won't throw me out. He said, it was 107 degrees on that field, Sandy. He said, you don't get to go sit in the air condition. If I got to be there, you got to be there. Well, Carlos, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, enjoyed those years. So, so to answer your question, Mr. I wouldn't have taken it back. I think you don't expect it back. You're not going to get it back. You be happy for you. Here's what you do: borrow his side by side and run it out of gas.
Or get it stuck.
I don't know how much money you lent him or gave him, but use that side by side. Get your money's worth out of it. Boomer, time for our Cajun words of the week.
Oh, okay. I didn't do too good last week.
How about this one? You have any Cajuns in your family?
No.
No? You're missing out.
I know it.
Some of the best food, some of the best music.
Yeah.
And people, yes, absolutely. Macaro.
McEnroe.
Macaro.
No idea.
It was used to describe my dad a lot. It's a ladies' man.
Never heard that.
So they say, oh, your daddy buddy? Macaro.
Never heard that.
Yeah. Shall we?
Shall we? I don't remember. It's little. No.
We're going to go hunt them, shall we?
Oh, opossums?
Raccoons.
Coons?
Raccoons, yeah. Yep. You got to know this one. Champignon. You cannot have crawfish boil without them champignons.
Onions. No. What?
Mushrooms.
Mushrooms. Yeah, that's it. Well, see, I don't hear those. I don't remember them.
Champignon. So,
Yep.
and here's what's funny. I had forgotten all about champignon being a mushroom. Until stale cracker. You know what I'm talking about, stale cracker?
No, I don't.
You don't know stale cracker? I'll put that on the cracker, baby. That's money. While we wait, we hydrate. You know the guy?
Yeah.
He's a Louisiana State Trooper.
Yeah.
And, he left the troop, and now he's just a social media guy.
He's a cooker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you know who we're talking about when we say stale cracker? So he's a white guy. He's probably about 6'2". He got arms about that big around. Big old built up, buffed up guy. He was a Louisiana State Trooper, and he got himself in a little bit of a pickle. While he was off duty, he was riding in a boat. The driver of the boat had consumed maybe a few too many adult beverages, some libations, and there was an accident. And because he's a state trooper and he allowed this person, there became a whole rigmarole about it. And he ends up finally just like, hey, I make more money off TikTok than I do from the state troopers.
And he cooks huge amounts.
Huge.
It'll be a pot as big as that couch over there, and he'll have a boat paddle.
Yeah, he'll have a boat paddle. He'll cook up some etouffee or whatever. And now he's got his own line of seasonings, Cajun two-step and all that. And
he keeps them around his waist.
Yeah, he does. He keeps them
belt.
like a holster.
Got a holster.
So just, I know you don't have social media, but just get your wife to look up stale cracker.
Stale cracker.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it.
I see him all the time, but I didn't know that was his name or his moniker.
Yeah, stale cracker. And he's great. And so, but he was cooking up a bunch of something one day, and his biggest thing is he'll put something in the pot. He said, while we wait, we hydrate. And he has a cup, like a big, huge Yeti cup. And at the very bottom, there's a tube. And he'll take that tube and he'll empty that cup. Now, I don't know what's in the cup. We can only assume, but while we wait, we hydrate. And so he takes that boat paddle a lot of times. They use to cook with. He'll slap the pot and stuff. And it's so funny because
he's very demonstrative. It's real loud. And
he's
boisterous.
But he'll get called, I think the most recent one, he was called to like Beaumont, Texas to come cook a big pot of etouffee for this car dealership or whatever. And, he's getting paid premium to do that kind of stuff. But all these little kids, like 9 and 10 years old, showing up with this bleach blonde hair and cut off shirts and like, while we wait, we hydrate.
They all dressed up like him.
Yeah, they're dressed like it. Wearing them East Side Reeboks, them white shrimping boots.
There's a guy that I follow from Louisiana that's a dog trainer, and he wears white boots while he's training. So.
What's so funny is that I've got a friend. She grew up over there on the East Side in Beauregard Parish, and the people who are down there. So they talk about the Pontchartrain and the Mississippi River, and they'll say, west is best, growing up on the west side. And then they'll say east is beast. So they have that constant thing going. And I texted her one day and said, man, I just watched a documentary about your parish. I said, I didn't know y'all had pharmacies down there that would just hand out opioids like that. And she was like, we're trying to overcome that. But one day I'm sitting in my desk in my office and I get this package and I hadn't ordered anything. And so I cut it open and it's a cookbook. And it said, Calming the Flood. Something like that was the name of the cookbook. And I opened it up, and it is, so the New Orleans Times-Picayune every Saturday used to post a recipe, one recipe of some kind of Cajun cooking. Well, after Katrina, all these people are writing into the Times-Picayune saying, I lost all my recipes because of Katrina. Could y'all republish them? So they put them in a book. Well, she sent me that book. And oh my gosh, I've since I've cooked a lot of that stuff and it's so good.
I had to see that book.
Yeah, it's a great,
because those were famous. I mean,
the Times-Picayune. Yes,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, they came from restaurants and things,
Yes.
a lot of them.
Yeah,
did.
so a lot of them you'll look at it and it'll be like, this is the red beans and rice according to Commander's Palace or Galachois or Antoine's or whatever. And, you know, and how to make the beignets from Cafe Du Monde. And, you know what's not in there, Boomer? How to make them Pat O'Brien Hurricanes, though.
Yeah.
No, no.
That's proprietary. We're not sharing that with anybody.
That's right.
You know, I took my boys to Bourbon Street. Jax was about 12. Cam was 10 or 11. And we go down to Bourbon Street, and we get right there at the corner. And I was like, hey, guys, listen to me. Everybody look at me. And I just had the 3 kids at the time. And I was like, okay, this is Bourbon Street. It's daylight. Chances are there's not going to be anything untoward go on. However, 2 rules. Number 1, you stay in front of me at all times. If you ever see my back, you're disobeying the rules. Mm-hmm. You stay in front of me at all times so that I can see you. Rule number 2 is I don't care what she looks like.
It's probably a man.
Chances that's not a girl. So we're going down Bourbon Street. And there's some guys playing washboard and Zydeco you know, and I got pictures of the boys. They're playing the spoons and they're playing the washboards and all this. And we get past them and we're walking through there. And we get down to this spot and there's a barker standing outside this strip club. And there's an old girl. She got her butt hanging out the door of this club, right? And like I said, Jax is 12. He's at that age, right? And as we're walking by, she got her butt shaking. He's like, yeah, as he goes by. And I swear out of nowhere, I see a hand come around. Bam! Paps him right in the back of the head. And it was Cam said, not a girl.
Not a girl.
Oh, wow. Not a girl. Not a girl. So, I don't know how Cam knew, but he warned his brother right ahead of time.
Yeah.
But, you know, I love to go visit. Boomer and I are going to Mardi Gras this next year.
Really?
We're going to do a podcast from Mardi Gras.
Wow.
And you want to go?
You know, I've been to the Mardi Gras one time, and we pulled up. It was Jamie Morrow and I. We went down there for an investigation class for a whole week, and we pull up, and you know we can't get to the hotel because of the traffic and all that. It's the parade, and you know whatever. Well, they're throwing them beads, and I'm like, "What is this?" And Jamie's picking them up. They throwing them beads. I'm like, man, what do you want them beads for? He said, you'll see.
Yeah.
You'll see. And did I see?
You saw.
I saw.
Hey, mister.
Yeah. But, I've been down there. And I think during that week we were down there and you're talking about shooting, you know, you hear a lot of gunfire. I think 11 or 12 people were killed that week.
Yeah.
And I mean,
but that's a normal week in New Orleans.
I mean, it was just crazy, crazy. But, And the one, I think we had left that Friday, and either that Friday or that Saturday night was the one where the off-duty officer goes in the place and they kill everybody except for the little girl that's in the cooler, and then she goes, the off-duty officer, because she worked there off-duty, and then she goes and gets in uniform and comes back, and the little girl says, "That's who it was. That's who killed us." And I think that lady's on death row, or she was at one time. But yeah, that's crazy when you do that.
Yeah, so the answer's no then, right? You're not coming.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Well,
Probably
I did see some horses. You know, they got those officers on horses.
Yeah.
And I did learn you don't pet one of them because there was a drunk out there and he was, you know, let me pet that horse. And no, I knew quick. No,
it's kind of like touching the hat of those guys that stand guard outside of Buckingham Palace in England.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You don't do that
their
either.
horse either.
You don't touch your horse.
You don't touch them horses. And I mean, they showed him right quick.
They'll run over you.
Yeah. The right now the plan is Boomer and Fru, my wife and I think Kugler.
Really?
Yeah.
Who?
Kugler.
I don't know who that is.
He's a lieutenant out at the sheriff's office.
Okay.
And
yeah.
And he's full blown Cajun.
Cajun.
You know, every time he goes down there, he comes back with a loaf of bunny bread.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're not from down there, you don't know what bunny bread is. But you know, if you're from down there, you know, oh, you got bunny bread. You know, so your mama and them, they like that bunny bread. So, but yeah, we're supposed to go down for that. But you know, I was down there one time in October, and we're walking down Bourbon Street, and I'm the designated driver. I've got all these drunk guys that I'm having to corral don't recommend that to anyone. Just be one of the drunk guys. Get you your own designated driver. But I'm trying to corral these guys, and I saw more boobies than a peep show, man. I mean, it was like, wow, okay. And it was right after 9/11 though, and I'm like sweating bullets because I look up and there's people. They're walking through and they're averting their eyes and they're mumbling to themselves. I'm like, you know what? If I wanted to hit the great white Satan at a place full of sin, what better than Bourbon Street? So I'm fully expecting a white flash, and then I meet Jesus. And it's just, I don't know, Jesus. I was just walking down Bourbon Street, seeing boobies.
Yeah, but you was on Bourbon Street.
Yeah, that's right. Can you even go to heaven if you die on Bourbon Street?
Well, I'm not sure, but we'll have to ask somebody.
Boomer, we talk about the Cajun word of the week every week.
And I don't know a bunch of them.
You know a whole bunch of them. You do. Well, I don't choose the easy ones. I mean, lanyap.
A little something extra.
Yeah, a little something extra. I mean, we don't, I don't know. I can't think of anything. Couillon.
Yeah, it's a goat, or you're not very smart.
Yeah, just a dumb person.
Yeah. A Capri is a goat.
I've never been called that, but I'm sure I will.
It's just coming.
It's not enough Cajuns here.
Yeah, not enough Cajuns here till they call it Chief Ricky Robertson.
Sauce Couillon is what
Couillon. See. Okay. And, it's God, don't.
Yeah, that's just like, oh, shoot.
But, we talk about that, but we have our own colloquialisms, even here in South Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
So one day I pull up, back before the water department took your water payment like online or could do an automatic draft. I pull up one time, water department's closed, so it's after hours. And the only way you could pay back then was you had to slip it into an envelope and put it through the little window.
Chute, yeah.
And so I pull up and I write my little check out, and that tells you how long ago that was. Wrote checks, right. And I write the check out and I put it in the envelope and I'm sliding it in. And there's this young guy walks up and he was like, he's got cash. He said, "They closed?" I said, "Yeah, they're closed." And he looks at his bills, and he shows it to me. It's like $36.04. He has two 20s. Do it got to be right money? I'm like, what now? Do it got to be right money? What do you mean right money? $36.04. I got $40. Do it got to be right money? And now I figured out, does it have to be exact change? No. And he said, how do I get my change back? I said, well, they'll just put it as a credit. He walked off. He didn't pay his water bill.
Didn't want to give him anything extra.
And I promise you, it was more than $36.04 the next day because I always waited till the last day to do that. Right. It was more than that the next day, but he wasn't going to put $40 because he didn't know how he's going to get that other $3.96 back. Do it got to be right money?
Right money.
Okay.
And in a very common vernacular we use is I'm fixing to.
Figna.
I'm fitting.
Yeah, I tell my kids all the time, Figna. And they're like, what? And I said, Figna, Figna. Well, Chief, we appreciate you very much so. We're so thankful that you came here on the podcast with us. And, we wish you the best. And as we've always have. And you're going to have your haters. We've got ours.
Oh, yeah.
And I told people, there was a lady stopped me in the middle of the street the other day. Literally stopped me in the middle of the street, saw me driving by, and she said, "Hey, I am so sorry for what's been said about you online." I said, "It doesn't bother me." I said, "If they're on me, that means they're off somebody else." Well, they've now moved off me and they're on to somebody else.
Sure. And then they'll be off of them next week and back on to us.
Back on. Yeah.
But, instead of being part of the problem, let's be part of the solution.
I'm with you.
We used to tell people all the time, say, "Hey, you ought to come ride in a car." Mm-hmm. Some of those people you don't want in a car,
right.
Right. But I'll say this: I think probably the baptism by fire I got as a police officer, I was brand new, and I pull up on a domestic violence. I have never been on a domestic violence call that ended well, ever.
Right.
And it just doesn't matter what, even if. She wants him to go to jail. You got to fight him to get him to the vehicle or whatever. It's never ended well. But when I pull up on one and I'm getting cussed out by everyone there, even the lady who was getting beat up, I'm being cussed out by her. Ma'am, you're the one who called us. Right. That's when I learned, okay, not everybody wants to see you succeed. And but you know, it's the calling. You have to be called for that job.
Not everybody can do it.
No,
not everybody can do it. And in this job, you either love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
And if you hate it, you get out.
Yeah, you do. You eventually find a way out.
You do.
But it goes back to it's not a job everybody can do, but it's a job we're thankful for those of them who can. And does that mean everyone is perfect? Absolutely not. I hadn't met a perfect police officer yet.
No.
Last time I knew of a perfect person who walked earth, they crucified him.
Exactly.
And so, but at the same time, I'll say, thank God for our police officers. Thank God for our sheriff's deputies. Thank God for every one of them who go out there and stand between us and what's wrong in the world. And we need them, and we need to support them. It doesn't mean excusing them if they're wrong.
That's right.
But it does mean having their back when they're right. And at least my thing is always, I will give any police officer the benefit of the doubt until they remove that reason.
Right.
And like I said earlier, I always respect the badge until they give me a reason not to.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
You know, so it's a thing of y'all have a thankless job. You knew that going in. Y'all knew immediately you're not movie stars. You're never going to be heroes. You're never going to be considered. And even if you are in a heroic situation where you go in and you save 5 children, there's still going to be people who are going to be critical of it. And that's just part of the job. You know that.
It is.
But I think at the same time, at least for me, I knew when I walked out of a situation, even if I'm being cussed out by everybody there's somebody who's grateful and thankful that I just did my job.
Exactly.
And that always made it worth it to me. So,
yes. Yeah.
I don't know if those are words that'll help your officers or not. But now, next time you come on here, we're going to talk about Trey Phillips. And we're gonna really get down. No, I'm playing. I love Trey. But anyway, that's gonna do it for us. Boomer, you got anything else?
I'm good, man. Thanks.
Champion.
You too.
Mushrooms.
Right. Champion. And
onion. And onion.
I don't know where I got champion and called them onions, but that's
well. I'll tell you exactly where. What's that guy's name that used to make the videos, the cooking show all the time?
Yeah. Him. Justin Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah, onion.
What would he say? First, you got to make a roux.
But he say a little wine, a little more for Justin, a little more for Justin.
Yeah, that's going to do it for us from here on the big couch off the back porch for Sandy and Boomer, sometimes Jax, and now sometimes Ricky Roberts. That's going to be it. Have a great weekend. God bless.
Everybody loves a parade, and hilarious pizza throws parades all the week long. Bring the family in for your favorites, or explore the variety that Hilarious Pizza offers. Come join us at Hilarious Pizza for the greatest parade ever.
With a history of being the voices you trust, this is Off the Back Porch.